The over-the-wall gang down at the other end of the racetrack, checking the shutdown area and the racing surface. The initial word coming back is that we are clean at the other end. So it may have been just parts coming off and no fluid on the racetrack. And if that's the case, we can pick up parts and pieces. In fact, I've already seen them picking up some parts and pieces down there. That means we can get back to racing without having to do any fluid cleanup. And that's a very good thing. And it sounds like everything is still clear as they continue checking. Finish line down track and shut down there. And again, top sportsman. Need you to lanes, please. Top sportsman to the lanes. Top dragster about ready to pick things right back up. So don't go away. Don't dilly-dilly. Sound like we're about ready to rumble. Final qualifying. Bill Ernst, John Biaggi. Getting ready to bring him to life and head down track. Both these drivers already in the show. Ernst, the Total Garage Store entry. Gorgeous car there on the left-hand side. Out of Knoxville. And John Biaggi out of John's Auto and Speed Shop up in Illinois. Biaggi currently sitting number 21. Been down track with a 627 and a 625. Biaggi's hot rod over here on the Jeg side of the racetrack, and Bill Ernst. The 540 cubic inch Par race engines. Powered entry over there on the Budweiser side, number 17 on the qualifying sheet, and Bill would certainly like to improve off of that number. Because number 17 has to run number 1. And while sometimes that's a good thing, most often it's not so good. Now here's the kick. Bill Ernst only has to improve 0.02 of a second to get out of that number 17 spot. Not going to do it though. Goes 636 at 181. 629 by John Biaggi. As he will not improve. He'll stay number 21. Ernst at 185 miles an hour. Didn't feel it necessary to pull the chute. And he makes the bend down at the other end of the racetrack. Here's your bump car. 635 you see on the scoreboard down at the other end is in actuality a 635-3. That's the run of Brian Gaines. And it's just barely holding him into the field right now. There's still some cars to come up that could easily punch him out. Pascal Lecomte down at the bottom of the qualifying sheet as well. Although has a little bit of breathing room. He's number 27 on a 631 run. twin turbocharged, big block Chevrolet, Spitzer chassis car. Oklahoma-based runner there in the Budweiser lane. Brian Gaines continuing to try and refine that program. Hustles it right on through, 634. 211 miles an hour, 653 by Lecomte. Brian Gaines runs the 6:34.8, his best run of the weekend. Unfortunately, he's still number 32 on the qualifying sheet. Did make it a little bit tougher to get down the racetrack. Pascal Lecomte goes through 6:53. No help for him at 198 miles an hour. Sounds like we may have shredded another blower belt down at the other end of the racetrack. So going to go down track and check for some parts. See if we've got pieces of rubber band down there. Need to be accumulated, picked up, assimilated, and stored off the side of the racetrack. Yeah, like that. It looks like a little sweeper action from our track Zamboni. They had enough. So a little blower belt cleanup down at the other end of the racetrack. It shouldn't take too long. Madison Ellison sits and waits patiently. Young lady who was runner-up over at Heartland Motorsports Park, Topeka, Kansas, just a few weeks back, and she's up alongside Junior Houston. Houston will be over here on the right-hand side of the racetrack. The runner out of North Carolina, Junior looking to get in. Now, we have seen several cars sneak into the show here in this final session. Seen some great runs get into the show here in this final session. Junior looks down at the scoreboard and goes 634. This Race Tech chassis, Pro Charge, big block Chevrolet ought to be able to do that. It's all about a matter of getting the balance right. Car making power. Car being able to put the power to the racetrack holding the power that the car is putting down. It is a ballet. And again, we need top sportsman to the lanes, please. Top sportsman. Need you to the staging lanes, please. Nitro Joe reminding me that he prognosticated a 633 bump when everything was said and done. And we are at a 634 right now. Joe's reminding me that he's close. .634.3 is the record. Karma Hopper ran a 634.3. Brian Gaines ran a 634.8. Brian Gaines is right now the bump. So we would need a driver like, we'll say Junior Houston, who's getting ready to come up next, to be able to run a 634.2 or better to help us achieve that record quick top dragster field.
Get the high performance you're looking for at a price you won't believe from Jegs High Performance.
VP Racing Fuels is the world's leader in performance fuel technology. That includes VP Small Engine Fuel, the perfect fuel for 2-cycle and 4-cycle gas-powered tools, including chainsaws, generators, trimmers, blowers, and more. VP Small Engine Fuel is blended with no ethanol, ensuring easier starts, worry-free long-term storage, and fewer repairs. The 2-cycle blend is pre-mixed with oil, so there's no measuring, no mixing, no mess. Just pour it in and start it up. Learn more about VP Small Engine Fuel online at vp-sef.com.
Madison Ellison looking to improve on her 6:30. Junior Houston would like to improve on anything quicker than a 6:34.8. Oh, not going to happen for Juniors. He's already out of it. 6.301. Madison improves by 7 thousandths of a second. 9:34 by Junior Houston. Madison actually picks up a spot in qualifying with that thousandth of a second better run. Jeff Libla over on the left-hand side, the Missouri-based runner. Darian Bosch, your number 15 qualifier over here on the right-hand side. Jeff Libla and Darian Bosch, both of them in the show. Darian, number 15 qualifier. Here in the Jegs lane. 18 years young. Wheeling a 6-second, 220-mile-an-hour hot rod. And what were you doing when you were 18? 6:08, 228 miles an hour. Darian says the heck with the teens. I want the O's. Darian jumps up to the number 5 spot right in front of his dad who ran a 6:09. Libla, 6:21 earlier. Runs a 6:30 this session. At 218 miles an hour. But Darian, a nice move up into the number 5 spot. Bob Mandel and Mario. Well, Mario just saw the kid go quicker. Mario says, hey, if he can do it, I can do it. Bob Mandel's been 6:05. There's a couple of cars very much capable of running quicker than a 6:03 and taking away that number 1 qualifying number from Danny Nelson. Question is, will they? Mandel on the left. Profab chassis. Tennessee-based runner. Mario on the right, out of NKD Racing in Louisiana. .608, 225 miles an hour. No help for Robert. 6:11 for Mario. He goes 002 on the tree and 6:11 down at the other end of the racetrack. 230 miles an hour. Mario will stay number 6. Bob Mandel, the third, stays number 3 on that qualifying lap. Chris Carrico over on the left-hand side. The Fort Wayne runner. The Top Sportsman, we need you to lanes, please. Top Sportsman. Need you into the staging lanes, please. The Artisan. Up over here on the Jeg side of the racetrack. So Carrico looking to step up. He's been 6:29, 6:27 over there in the Budweiser lane. 6:24, did what he wanted to do, improved. 215 miles an hour, 6:47, 214 for the Artisan car. No help there. Carrico up to number 21 on that run now. Danny Nelson still number 1. Brian Gaines still riding the bump. Alan O'Brien, who set out the second session earlier today, made his run yesterday, went 6:13 at 221 miles an hour. Anybody out there a fan of Ramblers? AMC. That is a twin turbocharged 481 cubic inch AMC power plant. O'Brien out of West Virginia. He's your number 9 qualifier with that combination. They're on the left-hand side of the track. Joe Fisher not in the show. Tom sitting in the hospital saying, come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. The RacingRVs.com copper car. Beautiful machine. Debuted at the PRI show back in December. Finally on track late this spring. Joe's been quick. Car just hasn't been yet. Oh. Had good short numbers and shuts off again. 747. 119 miles an hour. O'Brien 609 out of the AMC power plant. 222 miles an hour. Fisher is not going to be a part of the show. Alan O'Brien moves up to the number 6 spots. Separates Darian and Mario Bosch. There's Toby Baptiste and Casey Spradlin make their way down the racetrack, or prepare to make their way down the racetrack. Spradlin on the right, best run, a 6:42. Toby Baptiste on the left, best run, a 6:55. So Toby looking to get in. Casey looking to get in. 6:34 the number they got to run better than. They are both on the outside looking to get in. .633, 204 miles an hour. 6:28, 219 miles an hour. Danny Nelson stays number 1. The bump becomes a 6:34.2. A record all-time quick 32-car field. And we're not done. By a thousandth of a second, the 6:34.2 sets the new record, the new standard for a 32-car field in top dragster eliminations. Now, let me tell you, there's only a few spots in the country where you can assemble 32 top dragsters and put all 32 of them inside of a 6:34 bump. And here in Division 3, we have a propensity to do it regularly. Wow. All right, and it looks like Michael Shields not going to be able to make the run. We had some problems out of that car on the last run down the racetrack. Came back up to try and get one more run in on our final qualifying session, and just not able to get her to fire up. So we will end our day and end our qualifying with our Oakley competition engines, Diamond Pistons. Record quick, fastest ever. Top dragster field, a 6.342 bump. Whew. Crazy stuff. Wow. That's all I got to say is wow. Top sportsman going to come at us now. You want to play in this field, you got to go quicker than the 7-Eleven. And we are 5 cars away from an all 6-second top sportsman field. And with 41 cars on the ground, I'd almost be willing to wager all of Nitro Joe's money that we have an all 6-second field. I'm good at wagering other people's money. I don't have any money of my own, so I got to use somebody else's. Rick Korn and Kynan Dinkel rolling in now. Both of these cars in the show. Although Korn was beginning to get, I think, a little nervous. An 18-second run last night. Finally able to get in with a 660 lap today. Well, let me tell you, they were high-fiving down there, the gang out of Paducah, when that Hemi Avenger ran that 660. Kynan Dinkel's been 654 and 645. A little transposition of numbers on his 2 laps. Let's see what he does this time around. College prof out of Terre Haute goes 649. Kind of splits the difference there. Yeah, 649, 212 miles an hour by Dinkel. Korn runs a 702 lap at 156 miles an hour. Saw him with the shoots out way early down there at the other end. Tim Kerman's in. Mike Batty is in. Batty is Cutlass, a shutoff, 1191 in the early session today over there on the left-hand lane. Sure would love to get another 6-second run out of this Holbrook power plant in a Jerry Haas chassis. Tim Kerman's Grand Am over there on the other side of the racetrack in the Budweiser lane. Sitting in that lucky number 13 qualifying position. Kerman out of Illinois. Off and running. Batty is Oldsmobile making a whole lot better looking pass this time around. 6.901 at 192. No improvement, but a good lap there. Kerman goes 684. 201 miles an hour, so Tim will stay in that lucky number 13 spot. Mike stays number 23 on the qualifying sheet. And Greg Lair, who got shuffled out of the field in the early session today, then came up towards the end of the session to make his run. Car shattered the tires and went hard right. Lair coming off the win at the Mopar Mile High Nationals, right now looking at a DNQ here at Beach Bend Raceway Park. And let me tell you, the Buick and GMC dealer out of Canyon, Texas, and they're west of Fort Worth and Dallas, does not want to leave here with the DNQ behind his name. Greg Lair right now, number 39 on our qualifying sheet. Looks down at the scoreboards. It goes 7-11. Well, I should be able to do that in my sleep with one arm tied behind my back. Wait a minute. Nope, not in Greg's car. Greg has to manually shift his own transmission going down the racetrack. He's one of the drivers that elects to use a non-automatic to relay the power to the end. Greg out of the groove. Runs 669. Says, I'm getting in this show one way or another. Only 188 miles an hour. But Greg Lair goes in number 16 with that 669. Bob Wright runs a 670 at 206 miles an hour. Wright gets in, or Wright was in, and he stays number 17. So Greg Lair, who normally is a top half qualifier, gets in the show. Glenn Butcher, the demolition contractor, got Ron's attention up here. He thought he was going to demolish his own right door. Jerry Albert's Camaro up on the other side. Albert now the bump at a 710. And Jerry's like, wait a minute, I don't want to be here. So he's going to have to step up the pace. Glenn Butcher, runner out of Ohio, over here on the right-hand side, sits number 5. Jerry Albert, 710 and a 786. Kind of like Greg Laird, not numbers you normally associate with the Mickey Thompson and Jegs Camaro. Tracy getting some track temp readings. Albert pulls in, lights the bulbs. Here we go. That's more better. 687, 201 miles an hour for Jerry Albert. Puts him number 25 now on the qualifying sheet. Butcher goes through 654. 201 miles an hour. 209 miles an hour. Butcher will stay number 5. But it takes Jerry Albert off the bump. Mark Pickens has been bumped out. Tony Thoman, 708. Now the bump. As we are 3 cars away from an all 6-second field. Mike Hagee rolling in is 747 lap. For the car on the right-hand side. So he would like to get into the show. Tim Molnar's Camaro there on the left is in the show, number 7. With a 653. Ricky getting ready to turn on the computer. Tiptoeing lightly through the sticky racing surface. Pulls in, lights the pre-stage bulb. Ricky flips the switch. Tim's in, Mike's in. Can Mike run a 708 or better? Mike, don't think you're going to get it done, son. Nope, 752. 184 miles an hour for Higgy. No improvement. He will not be in the show. 649.9. 211 miles an hour. Not enough to improve. Tim Molnar does improve with that 649.9. Timmy now number 5. Kurt Friedrich and Bill Simmons. Simmons number 31. He's one of the cars in that 7-second zone that would love to be down in the 6s. He sits number 31 right now. Tony Thoman still on the bump with a 708. Simmons' best run, a 706. Friedrich, number 8 qualifier with that beautiful Camaro. Out of Wisconsin there on the left-hand side. He's been in 656 with his elapsed time. So Friedrich is in. Simmons is in. Simmons would like to get in a little bit deeper. 660 at 212 miles an hour. No improvement by Kurt, but a 694 by Simmons. And we are 2 cars away from an all 6-second field. Simmons moves up to number 29 on the qualifying sheet. Jeremy Jensen and Tony Thoman now the only cars in our 32-car field with a 7-second qualifying run. Scotty Linder's Grand Am, the runner out of Iowa, over on the right-hand side. Scotty might be your dark horse in this affair. Scott, who's been running with the Ozark Mountain Super Shifters, doing an excellent job on that race circuit. Doesn't have the quickest of cars, but he has a very consistent race car. And he has a whole lot of seat time in it this year. And being able to know how to drive your car, how it leaves, and how to drive it at the finish line goes a long, long ways here in our Oakley and Diamond Pistons top sportsman category. $691, Scotty Linder, no improvement at $199. $658, Bad Eye Breiniger steps the pace up a little bit. Bad Eye now up to the number 11 spot as he improves. Billy Thoman and Andy Horn. Horn up on the right-hand side. 651 lap out of his new Mustang a little bit earlier today. Thoman's Kentucky-based Corvette there on the left-hand side. Linda and Ronnie Etzinger. Billy Thoman at the wheel. $760 cubic inch combination for Thoman. Both these drivers in fact, both of them top half qualified cars right now. Andy Horn number 7, Billy number 15 in our 32 car field. $656, no help by Andy, 208 miles an hour, but that car stays consistently in the 650 zone. Billy Thoman goes 665.4. He'll stay number 15 with that run, albeit it is his best run of the weekend. Justin Souders, Jeff Sexton. Getting ready to work their way down track. Sexton's Cavalier-bodied entry over here on the right-hand side. Number 23 qualifier with a 684. Souders Camaro having a little bit of a problem getting to go into R for reverse over there in the Budweiser lane. Finally gets it to come back. 25-year-old youngster out of Louisville over there on the left-hand side. So they are effectively, if you will, running a home track advantage. Souders has got issue. Jeff Sexton goes 680, his best run of the weekend. A 688, a 684, now a 680. Picking up 400 at a time. Sexton was number 23. Picks up 400ths of a second. Jumps up a couple spots on the qualifying sheet. Now number 21. Ryan Hargett, Evansville, Indiana-based. Mustang over there on the left-hand side, the Budweiser lane. Cop Eliminator, we need our Cop Eliminator needs you to the lanes now, please. Competition Eliminator. Need you to the staging lanes. Competition Eliminator. Need you to the lanes, please. As Ryan Hargett trying to get his car into the show. Chris Arnold already in the show. Our 4 shootout contestants getting ready to come up for our comp shootout. Now we need the rest of Competition Eliminator to the lanes, please. Competition Eliminator needs you. Staging lanes, please. And that means alcohol dragster and alcohol funny car. Going to be right behind. .690 with an 8 by Chris Arnold and an 8:04 lap by Ryan Hargett. Ryan giving it a run. 8:04 at 173 miles an hour out of that street legal Mustang. Not enough to make the show, but that Mustang certainly lining up a few eyeballs. If you haven't ventured your way into the pit area yet, chase down that car, certainly tell you need to do so. John Hochstetler's hot rod, the 645 cubic inch, Mopar powered. Dodge Stratus rolls in next on the Budweiser lane. Bruce Barth, the Dynamo Racing. Grand Am out of Michigan. Over on the right-hand side, both drivers blowing out a little bit of nitrous oxide. Pulling the pressure down where they want it in the system before they head down to the other end of the racetrack. Start by Bart doesn't mean anything. Let's see if he can improve on a 692. Goes 695. No help there. Hochstetler is 703. So he won't find the 6-second zone with that run. John's already been there, though. He's sitting number 30 on the sheet. He is the slowest of our 6-second cars. Jeremy Jensen in with a 706.1. Tony Thoman in with a 708.6. Here comes Mark Pickens and Jonathan Smitty. If either one of these guys can throw a 6-second run at us, or if both of them can, we will have an all 6-second field. Pickens out of Arizona, the GTO, for the former Memphis-based runner. Retired a few years back, packed up, moved out to the Valley of the Sun. I think he still keeps his racing operations here in the Midwest, though. 780 plus cubic inches for the former Atlanta National Event winner. Jonathan Smitty out of Boonville, up in Indiana, brings his Cutlass down. Both of these cars in the low 7-second zone on their best qualifying run. Both of these cars need to run better than a 708.6 to get into the show. Because right now, neither one of them are. Neither one of them is. Pickens is 697, 200 miles an hour, and a 7:04 lap by Jonathan Smitty. That is now the bump, and we are one car away from a all 6-second show. Jonathan Smitty, the good news is you're in. Jonathan Smitty, the bad news is you're the bump spot. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars left to go. 7, 8. Now, Vince Nannini, his old Cutlass, out of Illinois, is in the show. Lester Johnson's Hemi-fied Chevrolet goes 620, 228 miles an hour. So Lester's gone 18, 20, and 22. Vince Nannini, a 667 lap, his best lap of the 3 down the racetrack. Vince, your number 16 qualifier right now. He's looking at a matchup with Jonathan Smitty. Did he Dowson? No. Could shuffle all that around a little bit. So could Robert Irby. As neither one of these cars in the show, and they're both of them looking down track going, should be, could be, able to get that done. Diddy Dowson out of Auburn, Illinois. Challenger up on the left-hand side, and Robert Irby, Collierville, Tennessee-based runner. Brand new Camaro for the runner. Coming up. Irby has been to the final round on the national event level. Been to the final round on the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series level. New car, though, you got to shake out all the blues. Dowson out of the groove, trying to keep it back in. Irby, though, closing in, top end, 689, 200 miles an hour. And ladies and gents, we now have an all 6-second field of top sportsman cars. Dowson goes down the racetrack, 728 at 187. Mark Pickens, 697, now becomes the bump. Jeff Mandel, the chassis builder. Profab chassis at the wheel of what appears to be Doc's Street Outlaw, Monte Carlo. Jeff, not in the show, has made one lap. That was yesterday. Don O'Neill did get in on his one lap today. He ran 680 at 202 miles an hour. Don's in the program. Number 8 in the top 10 last year. So it looks like maybe the boys at ProFab doing a little bit of work for Doc on the Monte Carlo, bringing it up, doing a little testing with it here this weekend. Now, their one and only run was a shutoff 29-second lap. So it is entirely possible they don't plan on making an all-out assault. Just trying to get some short track numbers. And that one had a propensity to go left. Meanwhile, Don O'Neill goes quicker yet, 678. 202 miles an hour, and Mandel shuts it off to a 1084 at 86 miles an hour. So Doc's Monte Carlo will not be a part of the show. Don O'Neill, number 21 on the qualifying sheet. With the tub of towels, the VP Fuel at GK. The mad scientist car, Steven Breiniger, rolls in, and there's Tony Thoman. Thoman, who's 708, was in the show up until, well, a few cars ago. The Firebird out of Kentucky for the computer software engineer and designer. Need to get Tony to back up a little bit more to the left so he's in his tire tracks. That's better. Thoman over on the right-hand side. Needs to run better than a 697 to get in. If he does, he knocks Mark Pickens out. Breiniger got in earlier today with a 674 run. As we are just about to wrap up our top sportsman qualifying and set our field. .999. Tony Thoman makes a 6-second run, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to be your number 33 qualifier. 667, 207 miles an hour for Breiniger. He moves into the number 16 qualifying spot with his best run of the weekend. Knocks Vince Nannini into the number 17 qualifying spot. Greg Lair, 18. Bob Mandel Jr. in his shoebox Chevrolet sits number 20. And Jeremy Jensen, the Corvette, there on the left-hand side out of Clarksville. Final shot at qualifying. Final opportunity to get into the show. Needs to run quicker than Mark Pickens, 6.971. So we need to see a 697.0 or quicker out of Jeremy to get into the show. Bob Mandel is in with a 676 with the ProFab chassis, 55 Chevrolet. .675 by Mandel, 722 by Jeremy Jensen at 184 miles an hour. So Jeremy won't make the show. Mandel was already in the number 20 spot. We end up with an all 6-second field. Lester Johnson, number 1. Tom Stultz, 2. Bob Byer, number 3. Didn't see Boyd Meyer. Didn't see Boyd make a run that session, I don't remember. Kynan Dinkel, number 4. Tim Mulder moved up to number 5. Glenn Butcher, 6. Andy Horn's Mustang, 7. Kurt Friedrich, the Camaro, number 8. Eric Burnett into the number 9 spot. Brandon Baxter, 10. Bad Eye Breiniger, 11. Rick Korn, number 12. Justin Souders held on to number 13. Tim Kerman, number 14. Billy Thoman stepped up with the number 15 qualifying effort, and Steven Breiniger rounds out the quick 16 in our Oakley competition engines. Diamond Piston, top Sportsman field. The field is set. Round number 1 of eliminations tomorrow. And our competition eliminator, Skillman Auto Group, Brow Bell Housing, Super Shootout, our 4 cars that have garnered the most points all season long, getting ready to come out and do battle. Brian Browl and Steve Ambrose go to duke it out now. The first of our 2 pair. Our top 4 points earners this year. Ambrose with a little 6-cylinder Varsity Ford 23T. It's based on a 300 cubic inch Ford inline 6-cylinder. Gentleman you may have heard of if you're a fan of drag racing, a guy by the name of Alan Johnson. CNC made a cylinder head for Steve Ambrose. Fits on top of that little 6-cylinder. Brian Brow's got the V6 Chevrolet, the 4.3 version, like you found in so many Astro vans and Chevy S10s. Steve Ambrose lights the red bulb. And Brian Brow, a qualifying lap, goes 7:28 at 183, and also a winning run in our Skillman Auto Group, Brow Bell Housing, Comp Eliminator Shootout. So the 7:28, 183 mile an hour run. We'll have to enter into our Comp Eliminator qualifying numbers. Ambrose leaving way early. Just kind of coasted on down the racetrack after all was said and done to a 19-second lap at 37 miles an hour. And Steve inside the car, I'm sure, was uttering a few words. Golly gee, shucky darn, son of a gun. Yep. David Billingsley and Troy Galbraith, pair number 2 of our 4-car shootout. The Ray Skillman Auto Group, Brow Bell Housing, Cop Eliminator Shootout. Drivers have earned points all season long for the right to contend for this shootout trophy and prize-winning check. Billingsley eye-altered automatic, the Chevrolet Camaro bodied. 270 cubic inch bow tie combination over there on the left-hand side. And Troy Galbraith, number 3 in the world last year. And Troy, who has been probably the hottest B-Dragster automatic in the country for the majority of the 2018 season. That is just a bad hot rod here on the Jeg side of the racetrack. But don't take anything away from David Billingsley. Not at all. Billingsley can flat drive that car, and he can whoop it up on Troy in a heartbeat. Billingsley goes first. Troy goes second. And then again, Galbraith could go 18 on the tree and run a 675 to get the win. So it'll be Troy's B-Dragster automatic. Taking on Brian Browse, little 6-cylinder dragster, for the final of our Skillman Auto Group Brow Bell Housing Comp Shootout. We'll continue on now with the rest of our Comp Eliminator field. Greg Shink's little 4-cylinder Toyota for the runner out of Louisiana. Picked up a 1/10 of a second earlier today from his run yesterday. Ran a 9:39. Again, in Comp Eliminator qualifying, if you're not familiar with it, with the wide variety of cars, and power plants, and engines. Tony Pontillo's car going any way but straight. 9:25 by Greg Shink, picking up almost another 1/10 of a second as he cruises through at 141. Alcohol Dragster and Alcohol Funny Car needs you to lanes, please. Alcohol Dragster and Alcohol Funny Car needing you to the staging lanes, please. Greg Shink moves up a spot on the qualifying sheet. Now sits number 20 in the field. Tony Pontillo still looking to get a good lap down the racetrack. He's on the qualifying sheet, but he is your number 23 out of 23 qualifiers. Ed Federkiles, B-altered automatic, Pro Stock style power plant coming out of David Nickens' race shop underneath the hood of the Dodge Avenger. And Craig Bourgeois. Bourgeois, a former Comp Eliminator national champion. Looking to see if he can do it again this year. Currently a top 5 player in the points standings for the national championship. And I got to tell you, Bourgeois has several races left to claim points at. For all is said and done this year, Comp, I think, is going to be an interesting battle. I also find it interesting to note that our number 1 qualifier set out today's early session. See if he shows up for the final qualifier here this evening. Federkiles, B-altered automatic, coming up from Florida. Bourgeois, just outside New Orleans, town called Metairie. If you look at the front wheels on Craig Bourgeois' dragster, I often give Craig static about the fact it looks like somewhere in New Orleans there's a hot dog cart sitting on blocks in an alleyway. And he took the wheels off the hot dog cart. Those are some of the biggest dang front wheels I've ever seen on a dragster. Craig says, hey, they help out. 685, 685, and 689 now by Bourgeois. 710 by Federkyle. No improvement for either driver. Well, actually, I lied. Bourgeois does improve, but only a 1,000th of a second. But I've got to tell you, if he's got that car running those kind of consistent numbers, tomorrow may be a very long day for everybody else in the Comp Eliminator field. Mike Farrell's B Street Roadster. Farrell's B Street Roadster. Up on the left-hand side, Mike and his dad, CJ, making a tow down from Louisville. Long time campaigners here in the Cop Eliminator ranks. CJ going back to the days of Super Stock as well. Dave Dupps, super modified Chevy Cobalt over here on the right-hand side. Number 12 qualifier. Farrell sitting number 13. Haven't had a chance to swing by Farrell's trailer. He's got some great looking brand new shirts. I'm going to go by and get me one. Farrell's best, a 784. Dave Dupps at 828. As I started to say a moment ago, the cars qualify by how well they run against their respective class index. Farrell runs 785, 169 miles an hour, and 824 by Dupps. Dupps picks up 0.04 of a second. He goes from number 12 to number 8. Farrell stays consistent and runs through. Stays number 13. We talk about our runners in Stock Eliminator. The boys from Northampton, England. Well, Stig Olsen came over from Ski Sweden to pick up a brand new Neyland Parks chassis entry. And Stig, I got to tell you, went 676 earlier today on a very straight run down the racetrack. Van Puckett on the right side, the G-altered automatic entry. Sit number 7 with the small motor. 292 cubic inch combination Cavalier. Qualify the field. We'll have them paired up for first round of eliminations tomorrow. Stig trying to step it up a little bit. Goes 659, 205 miles an hour. 825 by Van. Stig goes 49 under the index. Now Sid number 17. They're finally beginning to get that car dialed in. It has been a handful, and that car has gone every direction but straight for the last couple of races. Looks like they're now going to get to go straight and being able to apply the power. It's Jim Promozic Jr. and Andy Holt get ready to make their run down the racetrack. Andrew over here on the right-hand side, the Columbus, Ohio-based runner. And it looks like they're pushing Andrew's car off. Little 4-cylinder Honda. Andrews in the program, number 21, but they have made only one lap down the racetrack. Now, will they be able to answer the bell for tomorrow? Good question. We'll have to find out. Held up for just a moment to get the cars off the top end of the racetrack. Jim Promozic going to make a single run now with Andrew's car being pulled off to the side. That is a strong running little 4-cylinder Honda dragster, though, let me tell you. Promozic on a 794 national index goes through 740. You can do the math on that. 794 minus the 740, 54 under the index. Promozic had already been 57 under the index. So he will stay. Number 10 on our qualifying sheet. Jason Cohen and Chad Vogus rolling in next. Cohen with a 4-cylinder, 190 cubic inch. You want to talk about small power plant. Cohen Engineering. band-embodied machine they call the car the Jackrabbit. Flyweight little race car. Very small motor. Former U.S. Nationals champ, former division champ, former Sports Nationals champion. Cohen Engineering, one of our sponsors of Comp Eliminator Racing here in the Division 3, Comp Wars. Chad Vogus, K-altered automatic. Another 4-cylinder power plant, but going at it from a completely different direction. He's using half of a V8. .761. Vogus picks up a couple of hundred, 169 miles an hour, and 811 by Jason. That car stays consistent. Vogus picks up a couple of hundredths of a second, now 56 under. He takes that number 13 qualifying spot away from Mike Farrell. Knocks Mike down to the number 14 spot. And Robert Bailey snapped the belt on the pump, and that's not a good thing, so they'll shut that one off. Pull him back and out of the way. Greg Camplain, currently number 2 in the point standings on the Comp Eliminator National Championship chase. Made the move from B dragster automatic to C dragster automatic. Trying to get away from the heavily invested or heavily infected B dragster automatic class. Greg Camplain making the right move. He is number 4 qualifier here this weekend. Went 696, goes 699 now. So Camplain from Mount Comfort RV and Lucas Oil. Runner out of Brownsburg, Indiana. Gets to race at his home track next weekend. Gets to sleep in his own bed next weekend with that race going on at the Lucas Oil U.S. Nationals. The Chevrolet Nationals at Lucas Oil Raceway, I should say. Trying to get all the sponsors in there, and I put them in the wrong spot. But they got their mentions, so hey, everybody ought to be happy. Jeremy Bailey and David Rampy rolling in. Jeremy's a dragster automatic up on the left-hand side, and Rampa for Skillman Chevrolet. And Patterson Elite Power. Little small block combination. Your reigning Comp Eliminator World Champion. David going to be another top 10 player this year. So he comes up over on the Jeg side of the racetrack. Super Stock and Super Comp. I understand several of you are asking about whether you are running tonight or not. The answer is yes. We will finish the day as it says on the schedule. Alcohol Dragster, Alcohol Funny Car, the finals of our Comp Shootout. Super Stock after that, and then Super Comp. Wheels up launch for Jeremy. Hikes the front end up, rocks it back on the wheelie bars, and hustles through 667. Picking up 300ths of a second. Rampy picks up 200ths of a second. Rampy now 15. Jeremy now number 19 on a qualifying sheet. And Jimmy Kimbrough. C. Connell Dragster out of Florida for the contractor. Little 310 cubic inch combination power plant. Pro Start chassis car. Short burnout, just enough to clean them up, heat them up, and get them ready to go. Alcohol Dragster and Alcohol Funny Car getting ready to come up next. We'll set our alcohol fields with their final qualifying runs. Run our final round of our Skillman Auto Group. Brow Bell Housing Comp Shootout. Super Stock for round number 1 and Super Comp for round number 1. And that will put a cap on day number 2. Jim Kimbrough right now, best run, a 7:33. Out of 2 shots at the racetrack, and he's currently your number 9 qualifier. Shuts it off to a 7:41 at 159, and he will stay number 9. So Frank Aragona Jr., who mysteriously has not appeared in either qualifying session today, sits number 1. Jason Cohen, 2. David Billingsley, number 3. Greg Camplain, number 4. Troy Galbraith, number 5. Craig Bourgeois, number 6. Van Puckett, 7. Dave Dupps up to the number 8 spot on that lap this evening. Jimmy Kimbrough, number 9. Jim Promosic Jr., number 10. Brian Brow sits number 11. Robert Bailey, number 12, missing that last session. Chad Vogus, 13. Mike Farrell, 14. David Rampy, number 15. And Ed Federkyle sits number 16. Looks like a little quick drag of the starting line. Smooth everything out, rubber-wise, and alcohol dragster. Getting ready to come up for their final qualifier. We know who our 8 contestants are. We're merely going to determine who your number 1 qualifier is, and then determine who shall run whom when we get to round 1 of eliminations tomorrow.
At the Jim Butner Auto Group, we're striving to keep everybody driving. Whether you need to reestablish your credit or have traditional bank financing, we created the Jim Butner Auto Group for you. We can service your vehicle and even offer no-interest financing on all your service repairs. Wide selection, traditional and special financing, and a world-class service center are just a few of the ways we at the Jim Butner Auto Group are striving to keep you driving.
The Jim Butner Auto Group, now at 2 locations, a bigger selection, and more financing options. Because at Jim Butner Auto, we're striving to keep everybody driving.
I'm Bo Butner, and I know a few things about automobiles. I'm happy to introduce our second location, Bo Knows Auto Group. We have a great selection of quality used cars. We can get you driving today for a small down payment and a monthly payment that you can afford. All you need is proof of employment and liability insurance. If you're looking to reestablish your credit and need a quality vehicle at a payment you can afford, check us out at Bo Knows Auto.
The 2018 season is coming.
Woo!
Get the season started right with NHRA All Access. $119.99 brings you racing action Friday through Sunday. Live racing and classic moments from more than 65 years of NHRA history. It's a new year. Get it started right. Go to NHRAAllAccess.com and sign up now.
K&N now brings you an extreme duty oil filter and the same engineering that goes into the world's best air filter has developed a premium oil filter that features a 1-inch nut on the bottom of the can for easier installation and removal. This high-flow oil filter protects some of the most expensive racing engines in the world. Shouldn't it be protecting yours? K&N oil filters are available at all automotive retailers. Find out more online at knfilters.com.
When you need every last RPM from your valve train and a horsepower advantage over the competition, choose Jessel Pro Series shaft rockers. They are stiffer, stronger, and as light as their aluminum counterparts. Are you punishing your valve train with 3 kits of nitrous or a pair of giant turbos? No problem. Jessel Pro Steel shaft rockers can take whatever you dish out. For less radical engine combos, Jessel has the best performing aluminum shaft rockers too. For more information on valve train survival, go to Jessel.com.
Alcohol Dragster, final qualifying session. Like I said, we know who our 8 cars are. It's a matter of who's going to run whom. It's Jeff Chatterson with a shutoff run earlier today. The Ontario, Canada-based hot rod over here on the Jags lane. And Will Smith at the wheel of the Harada Motorsports. Injected nitro burning combination. The car out of Indiana. The driver out of Alabama. Will made his lap down track today, a 5:42. Kind of get everything started for us at 253 miles an hour. Chatterson looking to get the lap down the racetrack. Right now listed as the number 8 qualifier. Smith, who has assumed the driving duties of the Harada Motorsports. Entry over there on the Budweiser side. Looking to see if they can step the pace up a little bit. You want to be number 1, you got to go quicker than a 5:34. And I got to tell you, right now conditions are about as good as they're going to be all weekend long for making quick laps. You want to do it? Turn it loose now. Sun's been off the track for about an hour. The track beginning to tighten up, cool down. Smith goes up on the tires immediately. Chatterson blasts through with a 5:69 at 260 miles an hour. So Chatterson gets the lap down the racetrack this time. Will Smith coasts across with a 13:21, and you know the boys out of Canada got to be happy with that one. Gives them a little something to tune with, work with, prepare with for tomorrow's eliminations. Robin Samsel and Marty Thacker sit and wait patiently. Harada's crew heads for the other end of the racetrack to chase down Will. Chatterson's crew jumping on the golf cart and headed down the pit road to get their driver. $12.47 now becomes the bump. That was the run that Robin Samsel put down earlier today. And Robin for NGK and Justin Goodson coming up here on the right-hand side of the racetrack now. Robin looking to get this car down track. Just saw Chatterson do a 5:60 run. They're like, okay, they can do it, we can do it. Marty Thacker's hot rod out of the number 5 spot right now. A 5:45. And if you're sitting there to yourself thinking, well, if we only have 8 cars and we run an 8-car show, why are we making the runs? Well, for 2 reasons. One, you have to be able to know what the car is going to run down the racetrack here this weekend, what the track will hold, what the track won't hold. Plus the fact that the top 4 qualifiers have lane choice. Does it make a difference? Right now, not necessarily. I think both sides of the track have shown to be capable of holding horsepower all day long. But you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You could have the pair in front of you, the car in front of you. Blow up an engine, put a little oil down on the racetrack. Well, if you got lane choice, you can choose to move over to the other lane. Or you can do like a lot of drivers do and wait for the cleanup to be done and know that the NHRA group does a tremendous job of repairing the racetrack, putting it back to a number 1 condition, stay right where you are, but you have that lane choice. Marty Thacker, Robin Samsel, neither one of them right now have that lane choice. Have lane choice, got to go quicker than Will Smith's 542. About a 539 and a 531. Oh, baby. 531, and Robin Samsel's crew is happy. Happy. Big time run. 531, 271, low ET, top speed, taking over that number one spot. Marty Thacker runs a 539 at 263 miles an hour. And you know what? Marty Thacker started off that run in the number 5 spot, improved considerably, and ends that run in the number 5 qualifying position. But they'll take it. 539, 263 miles an hour. Yep, go ahead and clap for them. Both cars going down the racetrack to pick up their respective drivers. Nice runs on both sides of the track. 531, 271, 539, 263. Jeff Chatterson's 569 now becomes the slowest of the cars on the property as far as qualifying is concerned. So Robin Samsel, number 1. Jared Dreher sits number 3. Christine Chambliss sits number 7. And here comes Jared and Christine. Attention in the pits. Attention in the pits, please. First 3 designated pair and left side of the ladder. Super stock. Need you to the lanes, please. First 3 designated pair and left side of the ladder. Super stock competitors, need you to the staging lanes, please. Jared Dreher and crew. Runner-up at Topeka. Runner-up in Richmond, Virginia this year. Jared, albeit at Richmond, did it in a car that wasn't his. But at Topeka, did it in this car. And that's the important part. They've been able to turn this car around a little bit. 536, the opening run, 267 miles an hour. We have seen an onslaught of 530 runs here this evening. The cool air, the cool racetrack. Samsel's gone 531. Thacker's gone 539. Jared Dreher says right now, hey, there could be a 520 out there. And there very well could be. Christine Chambliss had a very good run going earlier today. Until she popped the burst panel down at the other end of the racetrack. Nope, she shredded the blower belt. That's what she did. Yep. Lost the blower belt down track. See if they can keep the rubber band on it this time. Looks to me like they kept the blower belt on it. 549. 264 miles an hour for Chambliss. Jared Dreher's machine jumped right up on the tires at the hit. He'll coast through on a 12-second lap. Jared stays number 3. Christine improves with that 549, but stays number 7 for the young lady out of Scott City, Kansas. So Dreher's team, in the prime of the evening, gets a little too aggressive. Car jumps up on the tires. Christine Chambliss and crew do exactly what they needed to do. Kept the blower belt on it from one end of the racetrack to the other. Hightailed it to the other end. Gave themselves some good numbers to tune with and work from to get set up for tomorrow. Again, in the pits, super stock. Round number 1, super stock. Round number 1, need our first 3 designated pair and left side of the ladder, please. Super stock. First 3 designated pair and left side of the ladder. Round 1 of eliminations. Need you to the lanes, please. All right, Troy Coughlin rolling in. James Stevens going to be right alongside of him. The injected nitromethane burning car of Coughlin, coming off the win at Cecil County Dragway in Maryland last weekend. James Stevens out of Nebraska, coming off the runner-up up in Seattle just a couple of weeks ago. Stevens earlier today opened up with a 5:36. Troy opened up with a 5:34. Troy was number one until Robin Samsel threw down that 5:31 lap just a few moments ago. Troy had top speed of the meet until Robin Samsel ran 271 miles an hour just a few moments ago. James Stevens sits number 4. Right now, looking at a matchup with Marty Thacker. But I got to tell you, the boys out of Performance Truck and Trailer out in the middle of Nebraska, Gothenburg, Nebraska-based team, they would like to be number 1. This car has been running on mean of late. Stevens, who finished second in the Central Division last year, looking to do as well as he can. See if he can take that number 1 spot away from Robin and keep Troy Coughlin out of that number 1 spot as well. Stevens 5:31.1. Troy Coughlin 5:29.9. Troy says, I want that number 1 spot back. I want top speed of the meet back. James Stevens says, I'll take number 2. As both drivers hammer the throttle. 5:29.9 by Troy, 5:31.1 by Stevens. So it is Troy Coughlin taking on Jeff Chatterson tomorrow. James Stevens taking on Christine Chambliss. Robin Samsel will do battle with Will Smith, and Jared Dreher and Marty Thacker going to square off in round number 1 of Alcohol Dragster Racing. Nice laps there to close out that Alcohol Dragster session. 5:29.9, 5:31.1. Both drivers taking advantage of the best conditions we've had for 2 days to get down this racetrack. Nice tight racetrack, cool evening air, literally no breeze blowing. Able to throw the book at it and get it down the racetrack. Knew there was a 520 out there, just waited for somebody to pick it. Troy Coughlin and crew able to do just that. Get our Alcohol Dragster squared away down at the other end of the racetrack before we dive into final Alcohol Funny Car qualifying. And again, Super Stock, need your lanes, please. First 3 designated pair, left side of the ladder. Super Stock. First 3 designated pair and left side of the ladder. Need you to the lanes, please. Round number 1, Super Stock. Need you to the lanes. First 3 designated pair, left side of the ladder. See some of them rolling in, but Super Stock, left side, and first 3 pair. Need you to the lanes. The long, skinny Alcohol Dragsters down at the other end of the racetrack. Getting all of them squared away, tucked away, and taken care of down at the top end. Chris Foster and Todd Robertson sitting and waiting patiently. Ray Drew, your number 1 qualifier after that opening session. 5:67 by Ray. Lance Van Houen, number 2 at a 5:84. Tyler Scott sitting in there with a 5:97 run. Then we get into Rob Feister, sitting number 4, Phil Hez, number 5, and Todd Robertson. That shut off 8:13 lap. Chris Foster's machine came up, pulled up, got ready to fire it up, and then they pushed the car off to the side and missed the opening session of qualifying. You hate to miss any session of qualifying. It puts you one lap behind everybody else. They get data and information to work with, and tune from. The traffic jam down at the top end taken care of. Chris Foster and Todd Robertson going to see what they can do now. Ray Drew, set number 1. 7-car field, your number 1 qualifier. We'll have the bye in the opening round. So a lot of extra incentive to be that number 1 runner. Foster and the gang out of the Quad Cities, Davenport, Iowa. Monte Carlo bodied entry over there on the left-hand side. Their first and only qualifying lap. Getting ready to come at us. Todd Robertson and crew, the Monte Carlo. Reed Automotive and Aeroquip. Only an 8:13 shot that opening session. 103-mile-an-hour run in that car. It's been in the final round of 3 of our 4 races this year. Robertson currently leading the North Central region alcohol funny car points chase. Car out of Harrison Township, Michigan. Looking to put a good run down the racetrack. Chris Foster just wants some runs. Wants a run that he can tune with come tomorrow. Both drivers really going to be looking to get down from A to B. Foster with a 566 at 257. Robertson at a 582, 226-mile-an-hour run. Chris Foster, 1 shot at qualifying and goes immediately from not on the sheet to the number 1 spot. But we got Ray and Lance and Tyler and Rob and Phil yet to go. Todd Robertson hustles down the racetrack to a 582. Right now, that's good for number 3 on our qualifying sheet. So a nice lap by Foster to take the number 1 spot. Good run by the Todd Robertson crew. Get them down the racetrack. Give them some numbers to work with. And we'll see them come back for round number 1 tomorrow. Phil Ez rolls in. The hot rod out of Ohio. So they get ready to fire this Camaro-bodied entry. Phil right now a 781. If you're with us earlier today, you saw him come up over on the Budweiser side of the racetrack. Car came off the line and immediately went left. Phil was looking out that side window at the concrete guard wall going, not me, no way, no how. Nice paint job on that new Camaro body for Phil. He's kind of like, no, we'll keep it looking pretty. So Phil Ez doing his burnout. Phil back at the wheel of the car. I haven't seen Phil much this year. Yep, I do believe it's the first time I've seen him out as well. Again, super stock. Round number one. Need you to lanes, please. Left side of the ladder in the first three designated pair. Super stock. First three designated pair and left side of the ladder. Need you to the lanes, please. All right, Phil's going to see if he can crank up a number a little bit better than the 781 he ran earlier today when he had to shut it off after getting a little crazy coming off the line into Budweiser lane. All right. Phil cleared the pipes out on it. Gets ready to bring the RPMs up. See if he can go from point A to point B. The car once again wanting to go left. Got a little bit further down the racetrack. That's the run he's looking for. 986, 86 miles an hour. So Phil will remain your number 7 qualifier going into Sunday eliminations. Chris Foster, number 1. Ray Drew, 2. Todd Robertson, 3 right now. Lance Van Houten, number 4. So the crew heads down track to go chase down Phil Ez. Tyler Scott getting ready to roll in now. Larry Dobbs, car owner. Tyler at the wheel. The gang out of Exeter, Ontario, Canada. Tyler Scott coming off the win in Joliet, Illinois. He and Todd Robertson duking it out in that final round. Right now, Tyler, number 5 on the qualifying sheet. Tyler Scott looking for a first ever championship. Right behind Todd Robertson in our North Central points chase. Good run here this weekend. And an early withdrawal or an early demise of Todd Robertson could help him out considerably. Could be another final round between Tyler and Todd. That would help both of them. It would also help Todd stay out in front. We'll have one more race on the season. And in St. Louis coming up in October. Whew. 583, 220 miles an hour by Tyler. Definitely an improvement on his 597, and up to the number 4 qualifying spot he goes with it. But that would, I think that would qualify for an adventurous run down the racetrack. Car came off the line, started moving a little bit to the right, started moving a little bit to the right, kept moving a little bit to the right. By the time Tyler got to the other end of the racetrack, it was really over on the right. Again, super stock, round number 1. Need you lanes, please. Left side of the ladder. And first 3 designated pair. First 3 pair and left side of the ladder. Super stock. Need you to the lanes, please. And our comp eliminator shootout final. Our Ray Skillman Auto Group. Brow Bell Housing. Troy Galbraith and Brian Brown need you to the lanes for our finals in our shootout, gentlemen. Need our Skillman Auto Group, Brow Bell Housing, comp shootout, final round contestants. Need you to the lanes, please. Ray Drew doing his burnout. And Lance Van Houten right behind him. Drew over on the left-hand side. The Mustang-bodied entry. Ray making it to the finals at our Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series event up in Indianapolis. Early in the summer. He duked it out with Steve Burke in that final round. Steve able to get the win. Ray hanging on for the runner-up at that event. Tough race for the Alcohol Funny cars. Good field of cars. Had a nice race weekend for Ray Drew and crew. Lance Van Houten, last time we saw Lance, Topeka, Kansas, about a month ago. Superstock, need all y'all to the lanes now, please. Superstock, right side of the ladder. Come on down. Superstock, need everybody to the lanes, please, for round number 1. Van Allen going to the semifinals at our Lucas Oil event at Heartland Motorsports Park. Hands on and off the throttle. I think Ray may want that number 1 spot back. 565, 252 miles an hour. Ray Drew says, I want my number 1 spot back. I want to have the bye run in the opening round. And he got it. Oh, and by the way, he was 008 on the Christmas tree. Lance Van Houten runs a 585. It backs up his earlier 584. Ray Drew will be number 1. Chris Foster and Phil Ez. Todd Robertson, Rob Feister, Tyler Scott, and Lance Van Houten will be doing battle come tomorrow. Finals of our Skillman Auto Group. Brow Bell Housing, Comp Eliminator Shootout. Troy and Brian should be in the lanes. Super stock, round number 1. Need everybody to the lanes now, please. We've got our first 3 pair. We've got our number 1 qualifier for a bye run. Now we need the right side of the ladder to go along with the left. Super stock, round number 1. Getting them paired up and in the lanes. Super Cup, you'll be coming shortly. So get them ready for round 1 of elimination. Super Cup, you will follow Super Stock. So we'll be looking for you here in just a bit. As soon as we make some room in the lanes. Superstock, though. Need all of our Superstock cars for first round of eliminations. To the staging lanes, please.
Sunoco race fuels are refined to meet every racer's needs. Consistent quality means reliability for all motorsports applications. For more information on Sunoco's complete line of quality racing gasolines or to locate a dealer near you, check out their fuel finder at racegas.com or call 1-800-RACEGAS.
When it is time to purchase a weather station, turn to the industry leader, Computech Systems. Computech has been providing racers with the best in weather monitoring and ET prediction for over 30 years. Just ask any of our NHRA contingency winners, including past world champions David Rampey and Jimmy DeFrank. From their handheld weather station, the RaceAir Pro, to the new RaceAir Cloud trailer-mounted system with wind, paging, and texting, Computech has what you're looking for. For more information, check out Computech.com and let Computech put you on the fast track to the winner's circle. Call 301-884-5712 to order risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
So checking out the top end of the racetrack down there, making sure everything clean, safe, and secure. Before we run the finals of our Skillman Auto Group, Brow Bell Housing, Cop Eliminator Shootout. Brian coming up on the left-hand side, the little V6 powered dragster. Galbraith with the small block V8. B dragster automatic over on the right-hand side. Waiting for the all clear to come back from the top end of the racetrack. As soon as we get the all clear from down track, we'll be ready to go. Run our finals of our Skillman Auto Group. Brow Bell Housing Comp Finals, and then into round number 1 of Super Stock Eliminations. And again, Super Comp, round number 1, you will follow right behind Super Stock. Just as soon as we get some room in the lanes for you, we'll be calling Super Comp, so get them tuned up and ready, boys. Consult your logbook, consult your weather station. As we will need Super Comp round number 1 to the lanes here in just a bit.
Is your goal an NHRA championship? Then Altronics has what you need. Altronics DataQuest system is the latest in state-of-the-art data recording. The DataQuest full-color touchscreen dash is the only system available that puts your data at the touch of a fingertip. DataQuest's new integrated switch panel allows complete control of all of your car's accessories directly through the touchscreen. And Altronics DataQuest is an NHRA contingency product, which means you get paid to win. With tech support experts available 7 days a week, Altronics is always there when you need them. For products that will get you to that final round, remember Altronics and DataQuest data acquisition systems. Order one now at www.altronicsinc.com. Altronics is always there when you need them.
A little cleanup going on way down there in the shutdown area. So, like I said, on hold here for just a moment as soon as we get the all clear from the very far and long end of the racetrack. We'll be ready to go with our Skillman Auto Group. Brow Bell Housing, Cop Eliminator Shootout, and round number 1 of Super Stock.
Race car to hot rod. If you have a leaf spring vehicle, you can count on the Calvert Racing Team to set you up with the best in leaf spring performance. From their Cal-Track system to split mono leaf springs to their full line of shocks, Calvert Racing has been revolutionizing leaf spring systems to outperform the competition. It's no secret, with the CalTrack system equipped on 7 out of 10 of the current NHRA World Champions and the first leaf spring car in the 6-second quarter mile, Calvert Racing has what you need to get you to the win light. Visit their website at calvertracing.com for more information for their leaf spring application, bolt-on 2-link system, CalTrack's traction bar system.
And while we got a quiet moment, do want to remind everybody, be sure and stop by and see Kevin and Nancy, our official Division III photographer, as their trailer set up over by the staging lanes. Especially all of you from out of state and long ways away, racing here this weekend at the legendary Beach Bend Raceway Park. Certainly want to take a photograph of your car home here at Beach Bend. Mounted up on the wall. May be the only time you get here. Who knows? But Kevin, I'm sure, has a shot of your car in action. Nancy over at the trailer. She'll get you squared away. Kevin's still sitting out on the ladder next to the wall, snapping photos, along with his talented assistant over here on the right-hand side. Well, somewhat talented assistant. Kevin says, who, him? Oh, getting that cleanup taken care of. A little bit of spill down there at the other end. Way down in the shutout area, just at the bend. But again, got to make sure everybody's clean, safe, and secure down at that end of the racetrack, just as much as we give them an opportunity to go on this end of the racetrack.
Cohen Engineering is proud to continue our support of Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series competitors on both the divisional and national level again for 2018. Cohen Engineering provides a winning combination of performance transmissions, torque converters, and transmission components to racers across the globe by implementing the most advanced design and manufacturing techniques in the industry. Our extreme strength and ultralight technology components and unsurpassed customer relationships are what keep Cohen transmissions, torque converters, and precision components ahead of the competition. Join the long list of race winners and NHRA world champions like David Rampey and Jeffrey Barker, who rely on Cohen transmissions, torque converters, and components, which have been proudly made in the USA since 1976. Call us today or visit online at cohenracing.com. Mosier Engineering has been racing across 4 decades with 3 generations, and we are proud to be an official NHRA sponsor here today. Everything we make, from our rear ends, axles, suspension, and even our brakes, are made with one goal in mind: so you can finish first. We offer standard 2-day turnaround on custom axles, housings, and center sections. Visit us on the web at mosierengineering.com or call and talk to our knowledgeable and friendly technicians. Remember, whether you are a weekend enthusiast or a serious racer, Mosier Engineering has the highest quality made in the USA products for all of your extreme street and racing applications. Finish first with Mosier Engineering. When you need every last RPM from your valve train and a horsepower advantage over the competition, choose Jessel Pro Series shaft rockers. They are stiffer, stronger, and as light as their aluminum counterparts. Are you punishing your valve train with 3 kits of nitrous or a pair of giant turbos? No problem. Jessel Pro Steel shaft rockers can take whatever you dish out. For less radical engine combos, Jessel has the best performing aluminum shaft rockers too. For more information on valve train survival, go to jessel.com.
Well, the cleanup looks like it's reaching its final stages down there in the shutdown area. See, the vacuum truck has made several laps. Sucked up a lot of the grease sweep down at the top end. Again, as soon as we get the official all clear from way down there at the other end of Beach Bend Raceway Park, we'll get ready to fire up our final round contestants for our comp shootout. Round number 1 of Super Stock Eliminator. Alrighty now. I think we're ready to go. Top end, got their housekeeping taken care of. They got the feather duster out and did a little dusting down there. And our Skillman Auto Group. Final call, Super Stock. Final call, Super Stock. Need your lanes, please. Final call, Super Stock. Getting ready to roll the first pair down track. Final call, Super Stock. We need you to the lanes, please. Ryan Brown up on the left-hand side. Troy Galbraith over here on the right. Number 2 and number 3 qualifiers, respectively, for Troy and Brian, of our 4 top points earners throughout the 2018 campaign. Special trophy and a bonus check for the Skillman Auto Group, Brow Bell Housing, Comp Eliminator Shootout. Brian Brow able to make it into the finals. Troy Galbraith able to make it into the finals. Winner, winner. Probably a steak dinner tonight. Whoever is able to pull this one off. Green lights a pair. Brown a little tardy out of the gate, and Galbraith runs down track for the win. 669, 194 miles an hour, 724, 183 by Brow. Quickest run of the weekend for both drivers. Tried to chase it down, but Brow just a little bit slow off the starting line. Cost him down at the other end of the racetrack. And now we go to round number 1. Super stock. Ryan Hagg's Super E-Automatic for the former U.S. Nationals champ. Over here on the right-hand side. Dialed in at a 955. Aaron Allison's a modified car in the left lane. Again, drivers need tail lights on, please. Need your tail lights on. Need to be able to see as you go down track. Aaron Allison, your reigning Division III Superstock champion. Dialed in at an 892. Hagg's early model, first generation Camaro with the big block in it. Going to be off and running. A little over a half a second handicap start. 1 bulb on the tree plus difference between the two. Ryan's green, Aaron Allison's green. Can Ryan hold off the top end charge of Allison's Cavalier down track? Yes, he can. 956 on the 955, double 08 light. Hangs on for the win by 27 thousandths. Allison goes through 893 at 151 on his 892 dial. There's Austin Day and Johnny Rakes. Roll in. Brad having the guys at the top end of the racetrack check the cars, make sure everybody's clean and dry. Thought he saw something out there. Yeah, it looks like we're good to go. It's Austin Days. 327 Nova. Johnny Rakes, small block powered Grand Am. 1004 to a 1050. Once again, about a bulb difference on the tree. Technically, 4600ths of a second. Rounded up, it's a half a second. Handicap start. Going to Austin Days, little Chevy 2. Austin Days got a whole lot of problems off the line. The deuce comes off, stops, shuts down. Johnny Rakes goes through 10:15 at 117 miles an hour, lighting up the wind light. In super stock. Well, looks like Austin Days finally getting it going now. Little Chevy 2 working a little bit harder, getting to the other end of the racetrack now. 29 seconds later. Crosses that finish line stripe. So Johnny moves on. Austin Days' evening is done. Ryan Hart's demodified Chevrolet Camaro rolls in now. The Bartlett, Tennessee runner, Chevrolet Camaro coming up on the Budweiser side. 975 the dial. And Brad Zaskowski over on the right-hand side. Former junior dragster racer. Graduated up to the big boy ranks. Stick shift, 327 Camaro. for the runner out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Handicap start going to Brad. Ryan Hart now giving chase. Can that demodified Camaro track down Zaskowski? Nope. 10:25 at 113 for Bradley. 10:09. Ryan Hart at 121 miles an hour comes in second, crossing the finish line. Leonard Mattingly's Olds Achiever. Mattingly's GTM automatic, Olds Achiever, 10:28 the dial. Taking on Zach Running's M automatic, super stock M automatic, not a GT car. Olds gutless over here on the right hand side. Zach off and running. Here comes Leonard. Looks like Zach's going to be your winner. 11:15, 1:15 beats the 10:33 by Mattingly. 28 thousandths of a second. Separating him down at the finish line. Stephen Bellinger. Mitch Autry rolling in. Autry's Chevrolet Beretta, the runner out of Henderson. Down into Volunteer State, taking on Bellinger's early model, first generation Chevy Nova. Hey racers, if you made a lap recently, check your safety equipment. One of you is missing a glove. Had a glove turned in. Whoa, big wheels up launch Bellinger. Sets it down. A little bit to the left of the groove. Trying, and does it. 9:79 at 128 miles an hour. Taking the win in the stripe by 12 thousandths of a second. Mitch Autry goes through 10:05 at 129 miles an hour down at the other end. As Dave Woolley. With his GTK automatic Grand Am. Rolls in next. Phil Giles with the super stock Copo Camaro. Second of two Camaros in his fleet, one in stock. Bowed out in the opening round of stock. Sure would like to hang around in super stock. 9:22 the dial. He's going to be giving chase to Dave Woolley. Again, drivers sure would like to see taillights on the back of these cars. He gets hard to see you down at the other end of the racetrack. Giles comes cruising through, runs a 9:29 on the 9:22 for the win. Taking the stripe and the win by 7 thousandths of a second. Woolley at 10:66 lap out of the Pontiac as George Stassi's 72-year-old driver at the wheel of the 67 Camaro. Super H automatic entrance. What I love about drag racing, keeps you young. Stassi over here on the right-hand side, a 10:01 dial for the Californian. Andy Cronenbitter out of Ohio in the Cobalt. There on the left-hand side. Red light start by George. Tree flashed and George was away. 9:54.8 by Cronenbitter on his 9:55 dial. He had her set up pretty much right at 137 miles an hour. 10:01 by Stassi, but the red light start negated that damn near perfect run. Danma Racetrack, Frankie Morris and Don O'Malley. It was O'Malley's Super H automatic. 64 Corvette on a 981 dial. Going to give Frankie Morris's Camaro a little bit of a handicap start. There goes Frank. Here comes Don. Longtime campaigner out of Decatur, Illinois. Working his way down track on the left-hand side. Not going to win it, though. Runs a 979 on his 981. 10:06. Morris a little bit better out of the gate. Runs over the number, gets the win. Down at the other end. Todd Hammond's E-modified car. Todd on a 988 dial. Tyler on a 10 flat. with the GTJ automatic Chevrolet Camaro. Tyler off and running. Hammond's trying to reel him in, top in, not going to get her done. Todd was perfect on the tree, but Tyler runs dead on with a 4. Takes the win and the stripe by 001. 15 ten-thousandths of a second if you want to work it out to all the final little numbers. So Bohannon on a close win here in round number 1. Tyler Green's Corvette out of Kentucky taking on David Rampy. Rambo over here on the right-hand side, one of the mini drivers. Not a fan of racing at night. But that requires you to just bear down, focus a little bit harder. 10-19 the dial by Rampy. Tyler Green on a 9:21. Rambo off and running. Tyler Green off and running. Rampy looking over at Tyler and says, I'll take this one, thank you very much. David was 005, runs 10:22, taking the win. 9:19 on a 9:21 by Green. Got down there, took the stripe, took a bit too much. There's Jared Grenier taking on Dick Lux now, pair of Division 4 competitors. Duking it out here in the opening round of eliminations. But I got to be honest with you, a lot of our stock and super stock drivers just don't like driving at night. See the tree a little bit better. Dick Lux takes off the Super M automatic Comet a little bit too quick out of the gate, leaves the red light behind. Jared Grenier goes through 9:49, 128 miles an hour. It is a much different look, daylight to darkness. I will tell you. Donnie Fuller and Dave Dupps. Donnie Fuller, another M automatic super stock car. Little 318 Dodge wagon. I like it. The Frigidaire car over there on the left-hand side, dialed in 1096. Dupps on a 993. Oh, I can tell you several drivers that have some yellow lights around their windshield that they turn on at night to help reduce the glare of the tree. Dave Dupps gets the win, 10:02 at 128 miles an hour. Donnie Fuller, 11:05, a 107 out of the Frigidaire wagon. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say that. You do what you can to try and compensate for the different conditions that you have to race in. It's pure and simple. Jeremy Duncan, Super G automatic, the Mr. Pest Control Camaro. Dialed in 981. Gary Summers, Super Stag, factory super stock, convertible Cobra Jet there on the left-hand side. Summers on a 903. Not quite a full second handicap start. Going to Duncan. He's off and running. Here comes Summers. Mustang giving chase. Jeremy a little bit better off the line. Jeremy the winner, 988 on a 981. 129 miles an hour, 8.999 for Gary on a 903 dial. Took a little bit too much stripe. Breaks out at the other end. Matt Forbes with his new Super Stock Camaro. Taking on Alex Miller's 6-cylinder Chevy Monte Carlo on the right-hand side. 922 the dial for Alex as he notices the scoreboard. Says, wait a minute. Not a 921, it's a 922. Matt Forbes on a 1040. Going to be going first. Alex will be giving chase. There goes Matt. Here comes Alex. Forbes off and running. Trip, zip, zero, perfect. Runs 41.5. How about a 15 thousandths package to throw at Alex Miller? He runs 925 at 130 plus, and he was never in the race. Perfect Light from Matt Forbes. Trip Zip 0. Ryan Wilson's Chevrolet Camaro now taking on Nick Morris, the factory GT car. 98 Mustang, gorgeous Mustang coming out of Louisville. Ryan Wilson, Super Stock F automatic machine. Couple of tenths, handicap start, going to go to Ryan. 982 the dial, Morris on a 966. Over here on the left-hand side, red light start, Ryan. We'll get to see the Mustang glistening in tomorrow's sunlight for round number 2. See motors on down track, shutting it off to a 10:15. 107 mile an hour run. Ryan Wilson 975 after the red light start. 132 miles an hour. David Neal and Randy Logie roll in next. Neal on the left, Logie on the right. Logie on a 1060 dial, Neal on a 927. Randy off and running. Here comes David. Logie with problems right at the get-go. They were identical even the starting line. David Neal goes down and runs a 959. 114 mile an hour lap. New roll. Logie had been passed by early in the run, and Randy's weekend here at Beach Bend is complete. At least in the super stock car. Morris Vogus. Little Super J automatic, first generation Chevy Nova. Taking on Dan Steed's second generation Chevy 2. Super K automatic car over here on the right hand side, 1052 to a 1002. Exactly a half a second handicap start, going to go to Steed. Farmer out of Ohio. Gets the green light, he's off and running. Morris gets the green light, he's off and running. Got to tell you, though, wow, 003 light by Dan Steed. Morris Vogus dead laid out of the gate. Steed goes down and takes way too much stripe and hands the win over to Morris. Steed is going to look at that time slip and probably immediately wad it up and throw it on the floor. He might say, golly gee willikers. Kenny Schindler's Arch Used Parts Corvette. Jimmy Bridges' Big Block Corvette. Jimmy's out of it. Art cruises through 964 to 118. Wow. Boy, you hate to lose those runs like Dan Steed did. Jimmy Bridges a 1320 lap. How about that? Goes 1320. Not exactly what he wanted to run, but 1320. For those of you that don't catch the significance of that, a quarter mile is 1,320 feet long, a.k.a. the 1320. Scotty Gove's a modified car out of Maine. There on the left-hand side, Dennisville, Maine, for the SGE Race Cars entry. Kenny Vaughn, Super Stock D, Big Block 4-speed, 68 Camaro right-hand side. 945 the dial by Kenny. Gove goes down and that. Whoa. Hang on, Kenny. Whew. Scott Gove gets the win, 796 at 162, but Kenny Vaughn came off the line, stood the front end up, set it back down. The car was going right. It kept going right. And he tried to get it back into the groove and salvage the run. And at that point in time, the car started doing all sorts of ugly things. And he finally lifted and relented. Said this one just wasn't meant to be as Irvin Johns and Dave Manning rolled in. 949 the dial by David. 948 the dial by Irvin Johns. GTG cars a pair. Manning's bred on the left side, a stick GTG. Irvin Johns on the right, the Cavalier and automatic GTG. The Suburban Heavy Haulers CEO, boss man, chief cook and bottle washer. Got a key to all the trucks. Giving chase now to David Manning. And unfortunately, he is giving chase. Manning had the better light. Irvin dead late. Irvin runs a 950 at 139. Manning a 10th over his dial at a 959, but still gets the win down at the other end of the racetrack. It's Bill Kell and Brandon Wilkinson slide in next. Kell on the right-hand side, the Super Stock J Automatic, as we call Super Comp, round number 1. To the lanes, please. Super Comp, round number 1. Need you. To the staging lanes, please. Brandon Wilkinson's Arch Used Parts. Corvette there on the left-hand side, 903. Kell goes red, way red, big red, bright red. Rudolph's nose is going to be pink red. 10:35 by Kell after the red light start. 9:01 by Brandon at 148 miles an hour. Kell, unfortunately, just letting go just a tad quick. Jeremy Mudd, C Modified, taking on Matt Morris. Matt, a former champ, Indianapolis. Super stock action at the Big Go. GTH automatic entry over there on the left-hand side goes first. Here comes Jeremy. Good lights, both drivers. Who's going to win this one at the finish line? Going to be Morris. 983, dead on 0. 870 with a 9 on an 872 by Jeremy. Jeremy gets down there, takes the stripe by 15, breaks out by 11 thousandths of a second. Morris runs dead on the money, honey. 23 on the tree. And shut the door on Jeremy Mudd's Pontiac Grand Am. Matt Alvey's little Pontiac rolls in next. The runner out of Taylorsville, taking on Larry Mays. Larry out of Greenwood, Indiana. And, wow, surprise, surprise, an RV dealer from Indiana. They're everywhere. Mays on a 923. Alvey on a 963. 4/10 handicap start. Going to Matt. Matt may have grabbed a little bit more, leaving the starting line. But Larry Mays able to reel it in at the other end of the racetrack. Runs 925 on a 923. Alvey, I think, lost track of Larry. Shuts it off to a 982. 160 miles an hour and comes up short on that run down the racetrack. That was the wrong move to make. Lindsey Brand taking on Ricky Decker now. Lindsey's Firebird over on the left-hand side. Young lady out of Alpharetta, Georgia, the 400 cubic inch GTF automatic Firebird. And Ricky Decker, Super I automatic Chevrolet Camaro. Green lights up there. Lindsey working her way down the racetrack. And gets the win. 10 flat with a 9 on a 10 flat dial. Decker goes 987. Breaks out by 6 thousandths of a second. Needed to give it about a quarter of a whomp down there. But Lindsey gets the win, and she'll be back tomorrow for round number 2. It's Tony Alvey and Todd France. Roll in now. Todd's GTI automatic. Pontiac G5 over here on the right-hand side, and Tony Alvey's GT truck. Left-hand side, the runner out of Louisville. Guy who deals with big brown trucks all day, every day. Red light start by Tony. Todd will get the easy win. Again, Super Comp, round number 1. Need you to lanes, please. Super Comp. Round number 1 needs you to the staging lanes, please. France with a 10:05 lap. 107 miles an hour, 10:61 by Tony after that red light start. His day is done. His goose is cooked. His portfolio has been closed. Jeff Dona, Super Stock H automatic. Firebird up on the left-hand side. Runner in our Mosier Sportsman Shootout today, taking on Halsey Hatfield. Hatfield out of West Virginia. Another one of our young 71-year-old racers. Halsey taking a swing at the tree. Doing a pretty good job of it, let me tell you. Dona's got his work cut out for him. And Halsey Hatfield picks up the race to win bounty. Taking out Jeff Dona. 10:59 on a 10:56. Dona goes through 9:78 at 130 miles an hour. Halsey with a 13 thou reaction time. And by taking out the last event's Super Stock winner, Halsey picks up the Race to Win Motorsports gift certificate for the being the bounty hunter. Chuck Bellinger and Rich South rolling in next. South on the right side, Bellinger on the left, green lights up there. One of them a whole lot more greener. Whole lot more greener. My English teacher would be so proud. Bellinger gets the win, runs dead on 8 at 129. South, I think, gave up on him, runs 9:11 at 137 miles an hour. Bellinger, another case of being dead laid out of the gate, but being able to parlay it into a win down at the other end of the racetrack. Doug Broadus, another one of our California runners. The D&B Engineering, Pontiac Firehawk here on the right-hand side. Doug goes red. Dallas Kelly gets the win. 427 cubic inches. Stick shifted. 64 Fairlane. We'll be back tomorrow. Runs 9:029 on a 9:03 dial. 9:23 on a 9:27 by Doug, but he turned it red on this end by 3 thousandths of a second. Mike Crutchfield and Jeff Colvert going to do battle now. The GTD 428 Celine Mustang here on the right-hand side, 899. Crutchfield on 8.9 flat, the G5 Pontiac, running in Super Stock D-Modified. And again, Super Comp, round number 1. Need you to the lanes, please. Super Stock, round number 1. Need you to the staging lanes. Come on down. Crutchfield the better light, Colvert, the better run. And the win by 6 thousandths of a second. 9:01 on the 899, 9:05 on the 9 flat by Crutchfield. But Jeff Colvert gets the win by 6 thousandths of a second. We'll see that Celine Mustang back again tomorrow. Christy Ship taking on Pete Perry now. Pete, the Bowie, Texas-based runner over on the left-hand side. Little Pontiac Sunfire dialed in at a 9:24. Christy dialed in at a 10:96. The GTO automatic, little 327 Camaro. Going to be off and running. Pete's got to sit patiently and wait for his side of the tree, and here he comes. Pete reeling up alongside of her, but it's Christy getting the win. 11:03 on the 10:96. Perry goes 9:25 on the 9:24. Just a little bit tardy out of the gate. Could not get Christy to run out down at the other end of the racetrack. It's Jeff Neiswanger and Brad Plord getting ready to do battle now. Plord on a 10:41. Neiswanger on a 10:11. 3/10 handicap start going to the small block. Chevy Nova over here on the right-hand side for the runner out of Holly Pond. Down in Alabama. Plord, your winner, 10:44 on a 10:41 at 123. 2 foul margin at the stripe, 10:11. Neiswanger runs dead on the dial with a 7. And the gentleman who won it all here at the Jeg Sports Nationals bows out round number 1. Chuck Bohannon and Jeff Atkinson roll in. Atkinson been talking this week about him being the birthday boy. Went out in the opening round of Stock Eliminator. Kind of like Phil Giles would like to stick around. Here in Super Stock. Out of the gate he goes. Chuck Bohannon's Corvette there on the left-hand side. Jeffrey giving chase. Closing in on the finish line and gets him. 963 on the 957. 1003 by Chuck on the 1002. 12 thousandths of a second difference between them down at the other end of the racetrack. So Atkinson gets to come back and play in Super Stock tomorrow. Ronnie Dutton and Kenny Sharp. Dutton's little GTO automatic Cadillac-powered Monza. Taking on Ken Sharp's Cadillac-powered Cadillac. It's Cadillacs everywhere. Kenny Sharp working his way down track, but it's going to be Dutton getting the win, 1071. 113 miles an hour, 1080 by Ken on his 1067 dial. So Dutton will move on to round number 2. Sharp's Cadillac is finished for the weekend. Dan Kyle should be taking on Ernie Neal as we're down to the end of our Super Stock opening round. And those cars that are broke could not answer the bell for round number 1. We'll be offering up their competition buys, such as Dan Kyle here with Jeff Taylor Performance for another one of our 70-year-plus drivers. 1008 at 132 miles an hour for Dan Kyle. Ernie Neal was scheduled to be his opponent. Ernie not able to answer the bell. Amy Falk should be taking on Robbie Droggins. 91 Corvette, the Red Line Speed Shop Corvette, not able to answer the bell. So Amy will have a competition buy at round number 2. The lady who has won in comp, alcohol dragster, stock, super stock, numerous of classes, gets a free ride to Sunday Eliminations. Again, drivers, check your gear. We have had a driving glove turned in here in the tower. Check your gear, drivers. Found on the return road. We have had a glove turned in, so everybody check your gear. Check your gloves anyway. Make sure you've got both of them. 962 at 137 miles an hour by Amy. Robbie, a no-show. If you're missing your left-hand glove, don't come see me. Go find it. If you're missing your right-hand glove, come see me. We may have it. Well, I'm just saving you a few steps. Jonathan Allegrucci should be taking on Steve Hittens. 55 Chevrolet, but Steve not able to answer the bell, so Allegrucci out of Scott Township, Pennsylvania, gets the competition buy. And that V10 powered drag pack Challenger will be in round number 2. Runs through with a 954, 4 at 127. Super Comp, round number 1. You should be in the lane. Super Comp, round number 1. As Eric Wilkerson should be taking on Tyler Kahele, but the Dixie Collision S10 not able to answer the bell. So Tyler's day is done. Eric Wilkerson's little Super G automatic Camaro gets the free ride into round number 2. Go cruising through 1029 at 127 miles an hour. And a tough break for Tyler. Truck not able to answer the bell. Don Kennedy should be taking on Larry Wilson. We saw Don early yesterday in the first round of qualifying. He made one run, and we haven't seen him since. And he didn't show for first round of elimination. So Larry Wilson, little 4-speed, first generation Chevy 2. Gets the free run. Wonder if Mr. Wilson knows Mr. Mitchell. I'm just thinking out loud. I know, thinking out loud could get me in trouble. 1093 by Larry Wilson. This is the Mount Washington, Kentucky driver. Runs his way into round number 2. And last but not least, our official bye run for the evening. Your number 1 qualifier for the 4th out of 5 races this year. Dan Jacobs, the logger, out of Indiana, at the wheel of the Cavalier. The GTI machine, little 305 combination. Cranked out a 114 underlap to take that number 1 spot. He motors on down the racetrack and settles in to round at number 2. Super Cop, round number 1. Getting ready to roll out at us. Ron Ruggles, you going to do this?
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right. Well, I thought Warren had spoken up earlier, but all right. We'll let Ron just sit in. You've done several of these sessions for our Super Cop cars. I think I'm going to go gargle. This is Bob Wheeler, Shannon Brinkley. First pair out, Super Cop, round number 1. Here's Ron.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bob Unker, he was doing the song Free Ride or something like that. He's getting all warmed up to do the national anthem tomorrow, so he's going to gargle tonight. Oh, boy, am I getting a look right there. All right, well, Bob's going to sit that one out. Meanwhile, Shannon Brinkley and Bob Wheeler are going to park it out here for just a little bit. The RFC Chapel service will be tomorrow, Sunday, 7:15 a.m. in the South Bleachers, and then another opportunity at 9 a.m. at the north side at the amphitheater. So a couple opportunities there. File that away in your pocket. And right now, Bob Wheeler and Shannon Brinkley want to file a W in their pocket. And well, they got the journey started right here. There's 2 green bulbs hanging out there on the tree, and the wind light goes to Shannon Brinkley. Shannon going 923, and it's like, wow, Shannon was way off, but if you saw Bob Wheeler's light, well, you'd understand why they kind of eased up down there at the top end. Well, I'll tell you what, the super classes have been ultra competitive. Knockdown, drag out, super comp round 1 is not going to be any different. Zach Evans, Jerry Mellis are going to lock into each other here as, well, the classes earlier ran with the sunshine, and now we got the artificial light hanging down there. And as Bob Unkefer mentioned, a stock racer that's been through the night and day racing, it's different day to night. Man, this is a good one here developing. Top end charge, wind light. Jerry Mellis gets the win. 891, 883 for Zach. They were pretty tight out of the gate as they left here, but the numbers didn't work out down at the top end for one of our competitors. Oh, mercy. Worth the price of admission right here. Greg Camplain on the Bud Lane. Sherman Adcock. Are you kidding me? Round number 1 matchup right here. Sherman, Adcock, we'll try to turn that wind light on the jegs.com lane, but Greg Camplain, a tough customer. You just got to race your lane. That's all you got to do. I'll tell you what, the 2 guys that's got a lot of wallies showed it on the start wind light. Greg Camplain, how about a 20 thousandths package? Dead 3 with a 17 bulb. Sherman got out of the gate a little better. But that was a fantastic race down at the top end as Ken Carson and Rob Moser just saw that, and it's like, wow, this is tough going here. Rob Moser on the jegs.com lane trying to win one for Portland, Indiana, and Ken Carson trying to take one home to Lebanon, Ohio. Round by round we go. Carson, the first to think about activating the tree down there as Rob Moser plugs in, says, I can do the pre-stage business here. Man, quickly. Both of them going in clean and green, and away we go. Mercy sakes, Ken Carson throws a 7,000s package over at Rob Moser. He missed the pitch. 894 for Rob, and Rob goes down. Boy, did he grab the wrong end of the chainsaw on that one. Alan Evans Jr. in the Jegs.com lane, the plumbing contractor. He'll square up with Tony Elrod, and I believe Tony was the winner at our previous race. So Alan Evans is going bounty hunting, and a lot of the drivers have been successful in the different classes so far. Elrod wants to avoid that part of the deal that's been going on here today. So Elrod, the heavy equipment operator, he's got a heavy battle going on with Alan Evans Jr. Tony quickly goes in, putting the pressure on the other side. Alan says, I got this. They're both green. Good race going on. Here comes Elrod trying to sneak down and take the win, but guess what? Alan Evans, another bounty winner here today, as Elrod goes down with an 895. Interesting race there on the top end, but the bounty money's getting collected early today. Megan Strasweg, the student, running for Cool Shirts. And Jeff Bell, he's going to answer the bell here, the farmer out of Lawrence, Mississippi. He's on the Bud lane. Megan Strasweg pedaling hard, and doesn't get there. A pair of 895s. The difference is just about in the reaction time as Jeff Bell, well, he answered the bell. He'll go to round number 2 tomorrow. So Billy Walker out of Loganville, Georgia, from start to finish racing team. And Scott Sattler. Scott says, I don't want to date with the interstate, as Scott's going to lock into the Budweiser lane. All right, pre-stage, few more inches, and it'll be go time. The countdown starts right now. Eighth mile done. Finish line will capture them both. Win light comes on for Billy Walker. 894 for Billy. Scott, 893. Margin of victory, 0-0-2. Wow. I'll tell you what, Warren Evans, I'm glad I'm up here announcing and not down there in one of them hot rods, because I don't think I can swim fast enough to get away from the sharks down there. Man, this is tough sledding. Absolutely. Troy Stone and Angela Neely trying to sneak around out of this first round. Troy Stone, the business owner, he's in the right lane, the Jegs.com lane. Angela Neely plugged in to the pre-stage bulb. Angela quickly rolls in, and Troy's ready. Well, I see what's going on up here. I see what's going on down at the track, and you just can't put 3 numbers in the RT. Troy Stone goes 9 flat for the win. Angela dead on with a 5, but when she grabs that time slip, she's not going to be happy with the performance of the driver. As Michael Swan and Jim Jarakaris slowly back up. Michael Swan, the Race to Win Motorsports dragster. Gently puts her in forward motion. Jim Jarakaris patiently doing the same thing with his Mike Spitzer built chassis dragster. Well, I'll tell you what, bringing your AAA game is sometimes not enough, Warren, as I'm telling you. You've got to bring it, and these racers are putting on quite a show, and we're just getting started. Super Comp, round number 1. Michael Swan driving right through the tunnel as we watch from the backside. Win light dance for Jim Jarakaris. 891 for Jim. Swan 894. Swan had the bulb. tried to back into Jim, but Jim takes the win into round number 2 as Ken Wickham and Tim Millwood square up. The 93 Flying Daytona with that big Dodge power plant. You change the spark plugs. I'll put the fuel in. And Ken Wickham, the KW Marine Shop sponsored race car from the Show Me State. Wind light comes on for Wickham, 903, 896 for Millwood, so you know who got the light, and we'll just leave it right there. As Jason Lynch, racing Jason Lynch, brings that Danny Nelson brand new race car out to the battleground. He'll take the Bud lane for now, and Mark Meyer representing the jegs.com lane. So Donna Joe Meyer, the crew for Mark. The crew, the unsung heroes, the eyes and ears outside the car, and our cheerleaders. Well, Jason Lynch on that red-eye flight westbound. Well, he tripped the stop sign that stops you from going to round 2 as Mark Meyer gets a free run at it, goes 894. And he'll lock it into the next round. Jason, booming speed, 186 miles an hour. But the stop sign ended the game right there for Jason Lynch. All right, dragsters a pair. One mono strut, one the wingless warrior, Tim Marsh, out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. He'll take the right lane. Jimmy Smith will take the passing lane. Out of Walton, Kentucky, the truck and trailer repairman. Not interested in repairing the trailer. He wants a wind light. Oh, baby. Tim Marsh is going to make him work for it, and Tim Marsh just slammed the door down there. 896 a pair. Tim Marsh took a 005 down here and put the wind light on down there on the jegs.com lane. Good job. Double D, Derek Denny, will square up with Jacob Elrod out of Harrod, Ohio. Jacob, a former Super Gas World champ. But he says that was yesterday, this is today. We're going to concentrate on getting out of round number 1. Not an easy task. And Derek Denny, he didn't come here to go out first round. Guarantee you that. All right, the fire's lit. Oh, baby, somebody wandering around down there a little bit at the top end, but Derek Denny is your winner, 897 to an 896. Margin of victory, 16 thou. As Derek Denny takes that reaction time and puts that W, he stamped it on the jegs.com lane as Christina Perriman and PJ Fouts. They'll back them up, line them up, set in, push those buttons, and release them like somebody put an electric charge right into their finger or thumb, whichever they use in those race cars. So the singer-songwriter against the budget analyst. Well, PJ's going to hope that that Bud Lane will play a nice song for him down there as he tries to get it done. All right, Christina, the last to go in. And Christina says, wait, come on, car, let's go. But it's parked as PJ. Yep. That old motor didn't have to work a quarter of a mile that time for PJ, and Christina didn't leave the starting line on time, and now it's taking the slow roll on the jegs.com lane. PJ securing that win. That'll be the easiest win that PJ will probably see as he continues on into eliminations. Tough break for Christina. Numbers irrelevant. but a tough break for the team. Yep, absolutely. Well put, John. All right, Heather Fetch and Mike Jurasic are hoping those race cars are up to the task, as Mike, moving over to the left of the groove, didn't quite like where that race car was lined up, so a couple reasons they put steering wheels in those cars, and Mike's using the subtle move this time, as Heather Fetch happy with the location of that dragster. My, oh my, they didn't give it up down here. How about down there? We only got one W to hand out, and Heather Fetch goes 13-pack racing. Threw a curveball at Mike, and Mike missed the pitch. Not with the run. He goes 890 with a 0 and goes home. He's got to park his car in that portable garage with wheels on it back in the pits. As Warren Evans says, 15-pack and you're out of here? Are you kidding me? Ouch. ×2. Bruce Broker. Adam Gerber had a view of that, and they're like, what does it take? Well, somebody gave up 500 and it cost him down at the finish line. Bruce Broker goes 890 with an egg, and he's out of here. Adam took 500ths out of the tree, and it was enough. You don't think reaction time is a big part of the equation? 2 890s. Mercy. That's about like your brother or sister getting the red bicycle you've wanted for years at Christmas time on that. Paul Moore and Jeremy Mason. They're not bashful. Well, somebody took it easy on the reaction time, and it cost them big time. Jeremy kind of backed into Paul down there. He goes 898, 891 for Paul, but Paul just gave up too much reaction time. Bill Vance, Robert Vance, Houston are rolling in. Love Bill Vance's little short wheelbase 23 fire engine red altered. Battling with the predominant dragsters in class, Robert Vance Houston, the racer from North Carolina, John. And Robert goes 899, and Bill Vance threw the boat anchor out early down there as problems set in for that team. Not the surrender flag, just the car just had some issues down there as Don Higgins and Carla Fritz trying to get that special invitation to round 2 tomorrow. Oh, mercy. Well, as they disappear down into the west side, Don Higgins must have sold one of his Crew Chief Pro software projects to Carla. 17, both of them on the tree, but the wind light comes on for Mr. Higgins, 896 to a 901. And I believe they both stuck their foot outside the car before they crossed the stripe and were dragging them down there. Yep. Well, Rob Kropfeld has had a lot of success in his class of racing, and Pat Martin says, that don't matter. I came here to try to slay the dragons. Pat Martin out of London, Ohio, the Armor Paving and Sealing dragster. He's parked on the left side, and he rolls the beam. Went to set that car, and the car says, nope, we're not sitting here. Rob goes 891 as that's trusting your race car. As like I say, Martin rolled the beam, and obviously Rob knew that pretty quickly. And Rob trusts that race car as he had the hammer down, goes 891 for the win. Hey, trust is a must. Oh, Joey Fusting running for Phoenix Industries. Land of Lincoln is their hometown. They'll plug in to the jegs.com lane. And they look south, and there's Frank Aragona trying to ruin their party. They're from New Jersey, and they are definitely trying to make the lights dance on their side of the world. Ah, yes, 2 more sets of bulbs, and it's time to put the power down to the pavement. That they did. It is game on. 8th mile. They're eyeballing each other, looking for the stripe, and the wind light comes on for Joey Fusting's 894 job, 897 for Frank. Well, Joey tattooed the tree a little more decorative, a little lower number on it, and takes it into round number 2. So Dean McElvain and Billy Bear have visions of seeing the sun come up, getting the race car out, getting it all polished up, and racing tomorrow. But somebody's dream's going to get broken right here. It's got to be a little harder to stage a car with those smaller wheels on the front, but Billy Bear's been doing it for a long time. He's handled it. Nice. I think Billy's out in the lead down there, and Dean McElvain kicking the power in. And how about Billy Bear with that dead-on 9 run at it? And by 14th thou, he sends Dean McElvain to the penalty box. The penalty box that says, no racing for you tomorrow. As Brian Milam and Casey Perry want to join the W Club and not the L Club, as Brian Milam, the truck driver, takes the passing lane. Casey Perry says, don't need the passing lane. We got this handled. He's from Burlington, Kentucky. All right, they're texting each other, trying to figure out where they're going to eat supper tonight. We're all about that. Brian's been struggling with that car. Let's see what we got down there for the Milam Racing team. Well, 895 to an 893. Casey Perry takes the win this time. Behind on the tree by about 7 thou, but he stuck with it to the end. As Milam gets bounced, and Alan O'Brien and Gene Quinn have the racetrack reserved for just a little bit. The civil engineer with that undercover chassis dragster, got that 522, used to be considered a big block probably 30 years ago or 20 years ago, but Alan O'Brien will plug in a 457. That's a smaller combination, but it's not all about how big your motor is. It's cutting the light and running the number. Well, we got some smoke coming out of O'Brien's hot rod. It cleans up a little bit down there, and the wind light is Gene Quinn's, this pair. Quinn, 893. Allen, 891. Margin of victory, 7 thou at the finish line. Michael Bailey coming up from Texas. Will square up with Sonny Nimitz from the Hoosier State. Sonny says, I don't want to go back home. And Mike says, I don't either. It's a longer drive for me. I want to come up here and make it worth my while as Mike Bailey is pre-staged. He's the first to bump in. Sonny quickly in and gone. Nothing to write about the reaction times, but they're green, but the win light belongs to Mike Bailey's 897 run. Sonny going 898. I think, John, there was a little pacing going on down there at the finish line, and somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. Well, Michael Shelton and Sean Napier have been seeing what's going on. They've been hearing what's going on. Now they are on center stage. It's their time to shine here at night. We dropped the sun down. We got the full moon going. And Shelton puts it in the bank. 004 on the tree, runs 894. 892 for Sean. Margin of victory, 82 thin 10,000ths. That's like taking a hair off your head and splitting it 10 more times. This is like a chess match. Rick Hughes and Brian Whitworth are going to join in the chess game here. I'll tell you what, it's tough. You try to anticipate what kind of a light you had. You process your run as you're going down the track very quickly. These guys and gals are the best in the business at it. And we have the fun part of watching it happen right before our eyes. Well, the 8th mile blocks say, see you later. Here they come, quarter mile. Win light is awarded to Rick Hughes with, how about 893 a pair, 5,000 separating them down here. Rick Hughes took that reaction time. That's just about the difference in the margin of victory. Close, close, close. Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, that old Christmas tree is getting a workout down there, as those reaction times, they're just drilling the reaction times down there. Chuck Ridenauer and Greg True. We're going to take that westbound flight here in just a second. Hang on. Well, I'll tell you what, Greg pulled alongside pretty quick, but he had 700ths to work with. He goes 892 out the back door. And Chuck had to spend a reserve. He had no choice as he goes 888s on the breakout route. Philip Oakley, a racer who has drifted around into the Jeg Super Quick Series, will face Mia Tedesco out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I'll tell you what, as Warren Evans says, there's some matchups that you just, you know it's going to be a battle. And this one's right here. All right, we've got 2 green balls. Let the games begin. They'll be scratching, clawing, fighting, trying to turn that wind light on down there. And on the double breakout, Oakley goes 3 thou under. Mia goes 888s on the breakout route. Wow, that was tight. Well, the Viper, running for Quick Fuel Technology, Scott Vandewalker. Well, he's in the hot seat on the jegs.com lane, and he peers out that driver's window, and there's Bryson Scruggs standing in the way to round number 2. Or you can look at it vice versa. Will the Viper strike, or will Bryson turn on the wind light? Stay tuned. This is a good one. I'll tell you what, Scott's down track. Bryson trying to reel in that big fish down there, but gets down there too quick. Van de Walker goes 893, goes right into round number 2. Bryson set the GPS for the shortcut, and that didn't work out at all. The plan wasn't for the shortcut, but the GPS got him there too quick. Oh, another good race. Shanna Snyder running for Vintage Trailer Sales with that Mike Spitzer built dragster. Already locked and loaded on the jegs.com lane. Todd Senseney doesn't want to be on that last train to Clarksville until he's got the Wally in hand. Then he'll be ready to go to Clarksville. All right, we're ready. Man, oh man, these drivers are not giving it up and making short races out of these. We're clean and green. Good race. 895. Todd, he hangs around another day. 894. Shanna. That was tight. 51 10,000ths was the margin of victory. Double D, Dave Dahlem, the veteran racer out of Tremont, Illinois. Dave and Judy, been doing this for a lot of years. As Patrick Forrester will be the opponent for Dahlem. Well, I see something I don't normally see. Yep, Dahlem was late, and Patrick made him pay big time. Patrick kind of taking the cruise down there, goes 896, and Dave goes 888s, but that's a breakout for Dahlem. Uncharacteristically late for Dave, but, well, it happens to all of them. So Harley Mullins and Matt Lauterbach assisting Christopher, getting that dragster into play there, the jegs.com lane, and Ricky Malner from Seville, Ohio, trying to take out the red and white car from the land of Lincoln. Well, I'll tell you what, Christopher, I'm sure didn't mean for that to happen. Ricky will be the benefit of that misfortune for Christopher Mullins. Ricky taking it easy, 895, has the win. But Mullins fairly new at this game, and you learn your lesson sometimes the hard way. They'll learn from it, I guarantee you. Yep, that's a good point, John. Man, you want to trim that tree, as John mentioned up here, but you sure don't want to chop it down, and it happens to all of them once in a while. Troy Coughlin, Jake Smith, the Jegs mail order car out of Delaware, Ohio. Rolling up in the Budweiser lane, and Jake Smith's just got to run his lane, the 18-year-old student. Is next door. It's hard to do sometimes. Race your lane. Don't worry about who's next to you. Well, Jake Smith's down track. Here comes the big horsepower of Mr. Coughlin. Can he get there? Yes, he does. 892 to an 895. Jake Smith put a light on Troy Coughlin, but Troy taking it to the bank by 25 thousandths at the stripe. And coming to us from California, Val Torres Jr. He's making a swing by here before he heads to the U.S. Nationals. As Kara Forbes going to try to take out the California racer. Kara just down the road from Horse Cave, Kentucky. Does not want to take that short drive home tonight. Val, well, he don't want to start heading up towards Indianapolis yet either. Well, Val takes an 892 to the bank, dead on with an 8 for Kara. But I'll tell you what, you cannot put 3 numbers in the RT and expect to win unless your opponent is way off their game or they turn the red light on, the stop sign on. So Devin Eisenhower, the youngster that's having quite a career in his early years, and David Forbes will be tangling with Devin Eisenhower. David, another one from Horse Cave, Kentucky. They're breeding some racers out of that little town. Running for Lucas Oil, but right now he's running for the win. But I'll tell you what, Devin will let him know he's in the game. David drifting to the left a little bit. He's got the light down here, but Devin Eisenhower takes the 894 to the 895 win light. 004 was the margin of victory down here at the top end. Not quite the difference in the reaction times, but pretty close. Just another outstanding race in Super Comp, round number 1. So it's Georgia versus Missouri as Tyler Kahele will take the passing lane out there. Tim Foley will rent the jegs.com lane just for hopefully 8.90 seconds. On the double breakout, Tyler's 004 on the tree breaks out by 7 thou, but Tim goes 887. Survey says, Tyler, see you tomorrow right here at Beach Bend Raceway Park for round number 2. We're going to light a couple more rockets here. Steve Hoyt on the jegs.com lane, the Fort Wayne, Indiana racer. Jan Hoyt, part of the crew. Madison Ellison, Collector Tethers, trying to take them into round number 2. That's sponsor. A great start, both drivers in it to win it, but Madison Ellison behind on the RT takes the win down at the top end. Problems set in for Steve Hoyt. They were pretty knotted up till about a little past the 8th mile, and Hoyt's power plant having some problems down there. Madison Ellison will get that invitation. Well, we'll mix it up here. How about the Cutlass and the Dragster? Alana Haas in the longer version of a hot rod. Steve Eckert with the trusty 91 Cutlass is ready. Steve Eckert, he squirts out there. Here comes Alana Haas trying to pull alongside Win Light Steve Eckert. 895 Steve, 899 for Alana down there. Alana had the reaction time advantage, but the veteran experience of Steve Eckert probably closed the tab down there at the finish line. And Rock Haas's car getting a lot of attention on this jegs.com lane, and well, son of a gun. Well, I'm telling you what, Chad Lamont, this don't happen very often, but you take them when you can get them. As Chad will go solo, Rock Haas, tough break. The Haas Carruthers Racing Team, a monster engine for a power plant, but things just didn't cooperate for Rock. Dejected, disgusted, I'm sure, but he'll have better days. All right, Chad Lamont basically just kept the pedal down, 885 with a 9. He'll be the winner on that solo run. A gorgeous car, Rock Haas. Eye candy to her eyes, but sometimes the equipment just has other ideas and kind of takes the driver's fun away. Well, John Sickish and Dane DeBottis set to play the chess match here called Super Comp Racing. So DeBottis making the trip from Michigan would just as soon stay in Kentucky for another day, as John Sickish will be their competitor. Sneaking up on it. Well, obviously, anybody that's standing around the racetrack kind of can figure that one out pretty quickly, as DeBottis goes 9:01 and takes the win. And John had a car that just wouldn't cooperate either. We'll leave it right there, as Marshall Glass and Kelly Keith are hoping their hot rods will stay underneath of them. Everything works just fine, so they can basically make a fair attempt at this to make that full pull and grab that time slip that has a W on their side. These race cars, they get tired, they get little gremlins, make you pull your hair out. Not this time. Not this pair. Kelly Keith trying to get there, but Marshall Glass slams the door down there with an 893, 895 for Kelly. A little bit of 4,000 separating them on the reaction time, so a great start by both drivers. Somebody's got to win, and somebody's got to pack up the luggage and head to the next destination, as Tim Papp and Jim Blankhorn. Dragster's a pair, Tim with the monostrut wing, and Jim says, don't need no wing. As I always say, it's just something extra to polish on the car. Well, Tim Papp caught Jim pretty quickly, and if you see the lights, you'll know why. Tim takes it easy, 895, takes the win. Jim goes 892 and comes up short. As Michelle Furr and Jason Hartig would rather see a win light come on than maybe win the lottery. Well, scratch that. It's according to how much the lottery's for, because that'll keep you racing. Maybe a little more stylish racing. And the win light comes on for Jason, dead on with a 5. Michelle may have cut Jason loose down there. Michelle goes 895, looking at the mile per hour. Possibly that's what happened. And Bill Jackson with the Jackson Scratcher. 77 years young. Drag racing, age is not really any barrier. You've got to love what you're doing to be doing it this long. And Bill, very polished at it. Sean Parker's got the task of trying to take down the veteran. Nitro Joe looking on. And we'll talk about more of this in just a little bit. Well, Bill Jackson is your winner. He had the better reaction time. He goes 894. Sean Parker goes 8:95, and that was tight, 12 thousandths. And Bill Jackson says, I'm going to round number 2. We're having fun tonight. Not everybody's having fun. Not everybody gets that invitation to the dance tomorrow. Well, Phil Smida, he's pretty good at this. The Intensity Racing Products sponsored dragster on the right lane, and Mike Robalato, the truck driver, he don't want to go back to driving that slow truck any sooner than he has to, so he's trying to hang around. Oh, baby, here comes the finish line. Captured him, and Robalato lives another day. 8:91. Philip goes 8:94. Mike, he pulled a rabbit out of his hat on the Christmas tree and parlayed that into a win down at the finish line. I'll tell you what, Route 1320, we're burning it up here tonight. Pat Lamont, Larry Burnshausen, and I've seen this song played before, as Pat Lamont will try to win one for Lake Villa, Illinois, and out of Manitou, Illinois, under the guidance of Sherry Burnshausen. Larry, a winner in Super Gas Shootout last night in the Vega, trying to stay alive. Pat, I'll tell you what, this will be fun. These racers know each other very, very well and all their tricks of the trade, and the wind light comes on. How about that? Lamont gave up about 300ths on the tree, goes dead 3 as Larry goes, dang it, Pat. Larry goes 8:93, and I'd say Pat stole his hamburger right off of his plate on that one. Knew it was going to be good. Lloyd Parfait and Jack Sepenick got those dragsters on mean. The drivers, well, I guarantee you they're on mean. They're going to try to slay the tree, and then they're going to try to make their opponent pay at the top end. Well, Jack just sunburnt that bulb on the Bud Lane, and Lloyd goes 8:96, goes cruising down the boulevard. I just love the 1970 GTO Go driven by Joe Tankersley. The Prospect, Tennessee runner has got to square up with the ring and pinion shop of Leo Zinda. Leo's been playing this game for a while too. Well, let's see if they can burn some bulbs. High beams are on. And Joe Tankersley's down into the next county, and Leo says, wait for me, wait for me. But Joe goes dead on with a 9. Neither light was spectacular as Leo turns in an 8:96. He made it close down there, 16 thou margin of victory. Both drivers playing it safe. I don't think that was intentional, but they were green. They made sure of that. Made a great race out of it by the time they got down there. As Amanda Boychesko and Edward Jurasik trying to write their name into round 2. They've got the chalk in hand, and I guarantee you they're both ready to put their name on the ladder into the next round. But guess what? Somebody's ink pen's going to go dry when they cross the stripe down there. So Jurasik and Boychesko, Amanda, been in that winner's circle, out in Division 1. Amanda turning the power on, making that dragster stand tall on the tires at the top end, and on the double breakout. Look at that, Warren Evans. 888 with a 9 for Ed. He's your winner. Amanda goes 888 with an 8. You do the math. Wow. Hey, the wow meter just blew up the meter up here. Man, oh man. Outstanding. Dan Seaman, Lyndon Rutland. Next pair up, Lyndon in the left lane. Dan says, I don't care which lane I'm in. I'm going for this. Seaman, out of Ohio. Trying to win one for the Buckeye State. Oh, baby, we're having fun tonight at the drag strip. Here they come, finish line. Be ready. Win light. 891 for Dan Seaman, and he gets to dance tomorrow. Lyndon goes 896. Lyndon had the advantage on the reaction time, maybe pulled the brake and put it in park down there a little too soon. I call that cutting the spark plug wires and flattening the tires at the finish line. As Bob Mandel Jr. and Allison Prose, they're like, come on, driver, come on, race car. Oh. I think Bob's behind. Can he get there? Nope. How about 891s a pair? Allison Prose takes the win. I'm telling you, 3,000 separating them down here, and down there, 10,000 separating them. Margin of victory, oh my. Warren, D3 TV, I hope they're tuned in, because I'm telling you what, they better have their seatbelt strapped tight for this one. Mercy. Wow, Zach Fisher, Carl Watts. These drivers are putting on a fantastic show tonight, and I am having a ball watching it happen. I'm sure D3 TV, the people on there are just, I'm telling you, this is exciting. Well, doggone it, Zach. He tried so hard, but it's 3 red for Zach, and the win light comes up for Carl Watts. Carl was going to make it tough down there. He was dead on with a 4. He was 078 on the tree. If Zach could have caught any kind of a break down there, that race may have been different. Trevor Denton out of Bristol, Virginia, that American chassis dragster. He'll take that Budweiser lane this time, and the veteran world champ, decorated racer, and I'm glad I don't have to polish his wallies. He's got it home on the mantle. This is Edmund Richardson, and he's pretty familiar with this real estate down here called Beach Bend Raceway Park. So Edmund, oh mercy. Here I talked it up, and I'm telling you, it happens to everybody. And I hope Trevor's paying attention. You talk about trust in your race car, Warren Evans. Edmund was nowhere to be seen. Trevor goes dead on with a 6. He's your winner. And it happens to the best of them. So tough break for Edmund, and I'm sure that was the furthest thing on his mind, struggling with that race car on that particular run. But I'll tell you what, it's just like they've heard, it's an old cliche, we all know it, they don't race them on paper. They race them right down there, called the drag strip, 1,320 feet. And that's where it happens. That's where reality sets in. Mike Peavy, Bob Prose. Well, I'm sure Bob sitting behind there saw that and couldn't believe that one. Oh, mercy. D3 TV, they see the RTs, and we'll talk about it. 1,000 separating them on the reaction time, and the 892 of Bob Prose takes out the 894 of Mr. Peavy. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, we are just about to run out of cars, and this has been outstanding, and this is only round number 1. Jen Liggett, Kimbra Fusting, they'll tie into that Christmas tree. Hopefully it'll be kind to both drivers, and they'll try to work the magic called the finish line down there. Jen Liggett left side, Kimbra Fusting running for Bristol Hose and Fittings. Kimbra honing the skills in the Midwest Super Comp Series. Jen Liggett, the quality engineer, trying to get out of round number 1. And Jen Liggett with that small block way down track. Kimbra trying to get there, and does. Kimbra Fusting goes 891, gets the stripe down there first for the win. Jen Liggett playing it safe down there. I'll tell you what, when you've got a fast car chasing you down at the finish line, it is tough to judge that finish line. Double D, David Dale out of Oyster Creek, Texas, the home builder. Well, he's parked the hammer and saw and brings out the dragster. And Jonathan Anderson is, well, the gentleman standing in the way of David Dale's party tonight. And we are just about to put round 1 in the books. All right, the last win light to be awarded in Super Comp will be given to, and I don't say given to, they earn it. David Dale goes 897 to Jonathan's 898. Both of them dropping the anchors down there before the finish line, but David Dale takes the deception race, and that wraps up round 1 of Super Comp. I'll tell you what, racers, you rock. Thanks for the great times down there. That was outstanding. All right, I got to go catch my breath. Warren, Bob, I'm telling you, I don't know. It's man, that was cool. Bob, thanks a million.
Not a problem, Ron, and thanks to all of our racers for hanging in there with us tonight. A couple of small delays through the day today. We will get started at 8:30 in the morning. Don't forget our non-denominational chapel service. 2 services tomorrow morning. 7:15, the South Side bleachers, and 9 o'clock, the drive-in service at the amphitheater. Drive your golf cart, drive your scooter, drive your lawn chairs, whatever the case might be. But 9 a.m. at the amphitheater, the second service of our Team RFC, Racers for Christ, non-denominational chapel service. And again, first service at 7:15 in the morning. We will get started tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning. Super Street going to lead us off, round number 2. Stock Eliminator right behind that, then Super Gas, Super Stock, Super Comp. Round number 2 of all of those categories. First round of our Oakley competition. Diamond Piston Top Dragsters, Comp Eliminator, Top Sportsman to follow, then first round of eliminations for Top Alcohol Funny Car and Top Alcohol Dragster. Back into the rotation again with Super Street, Stock, Super Gas, Super Stock, Super Comp, Top Dragster, Comp Eliminator, Top Sportsman. And you got it, Super Street, Stock, Super Gas, Super Stock, Super Comp, Top Dragster, Comp Eliminator, Top Sportsman. Round number 2. I know I'm repeating myself. That's because that's what Giff's got on the schedule. He is repetitionist in this. Round number 2 of Alcohol Funny Car in there, and we will continue to work our way through the day till we crown our champions tomorrow evening. But again, chapel service, 7:15 in the morning, first service. 9 o'clock, second service in the amphitheater. And first cars on track, 8:30 in the morning, Super Street. That means we'll be knocking on your door and ringing your doorbell about 8 o'clock in the morning. Again, racers, appreciate everybody's efforts to get everything down track today. For all of our friends listening in from, where was camp? Budapest, Hungary, Budapest. And everywhere else around the world listening in on D3 TV. Appreciate you all listening in. On behalf of Warren Evans with D3 TV, Ron Ruggles set in for a couple of sessions there in Super Comp today. Hey, I'm Bob Unkefer. Good night, everybody. We will see you mañana morning, 8:30, Super Street on track. Those of you on D3 TV, if you're late, we're going to cut your cable so you don't get to see any of it. So D3 TV listeners, 8:30 tomorrow morning, Super Street, first cars down track, round number 2. Good night, everybody. On behalf of everybody here at Beach Bend Raceway Park and the NHRA Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series Tour, we appreciate you being here. Love having you in the house and love having you online, D3 TV. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.